Hey guys, welcome to Game List Plus. I'm Josh, and today I am finally doing a dual live stream where I'm actually on vertical and I'm on horizontal, and I am just doing comment reading today for the very first time. So I've got a ton of comments that I kind of saved my responding to. Oh, there's me, making sure that it was working. Interesting, interesting. I was testing it with this and it seems to be working fine. So anyway, welcome to Game List Plus. My name is Josh, and today I am here. I'm going to be reading your comments, and we're just going to go through a bunch of the comments that I've gotten from previous videos for the last month or two. I've intended to do a live stream like this for a while, so this is my first one where I'm officially going to be just talking to you guys and not necessarily reacting directly to a video or doing something separate. So let me bear with me as I figure out the technical aspects of this, and let's see how this goes. Like right now, trying to adjust the camera. So I have the camera set up to where it does its own adjustments. So you're seeing me go off center here because there's a thing called center stage on my Mac camera, which I think I'm gonna turn off. Let me see. Actually, it seems like it's okay now. All right. So let's see here. All right, guys. So I have a bunch of comments that I can pull up. I've got this preset so I can actually show them on screen. Hopefully it doesn't completely cut me off. Ah, it does. Look at that. So I'll just lower this little guy a bit so that my face is still on camera. And I'm just going to get started and start. Let me do this. I can lower this a little bit more so my face isn't completely covered. Feels like it's too close on my face, personally. Let me just try this setting here. Yeah, the center stage has a mind of its own, clearly. Let me just try kind of moving around and see if it can readjust to a better setting. There we go. Hello there. I see someone joined. Feel free to talk in the chat. I'm just getting the technical setup for my very first time here, so please bear with me. I hope the audio is good. If you can hear it just fine, that'd be great. And I don't have earphones in because I'm trying to just do this with this new streaming mic that I actually just got that I just unboxed, the Maono streaming mic. It's pretty cool. I'm actually going to be using this for live streams when I'm playing games in the other room because I have a really nice mic here in my studio already. But for now, for the testing of this, I decided to try it out today. Adjust this a little bit. I think I'm going to change the settings on this camera because it's not doing me any favors. Center stage off. Yeah, I think that is better. It's going to leave it in a specific set state. That way I don't have any kind of goofiness. I just have to stay in the frame rather than deal with moving around and having issues. So welcome if you're just joining the stream. I am about to start reading comments from previous videos from you guys that you have put your own comments in. I'm going to adjust this so you can kind of see that a little bit better. So in the last video that I did, it was Steam Frame isn't killing Quest 3, so what's Meta doing? And I talked about the freaking out that people are doing about all the Quest company shutdowns, that they're shutting down different VR companies um, that are out there that have made big games like Asgard's Wrath 2 and Camouflage Studios even, I guess, got some cutbacks. But people are kind of freaking out about it. And I talked about how I don't think that it really is a big deal ultimately. I think that it's restructuring and it's planning ahead for the Steam Frame, which is coming out at some point this year. And so I'm just going to start with mostly comments regarding that because that's what a lot of people are really freaking out about. And that video and the responses that I got from that video specifically. So let me lower this a little bit. I have different mouse images from different screens here. So let me get this set up so you guys can see it both in vertical and horizontal modes. All right, so let me just jump into it. From Porygon Loves Pokemon 1648. As at the end of the video, I asked what you want to see more of from me in this current year, 2026. And Porygon Loves Pokemon said, I want more VR game and app lists, both Quest and Steam VR, and full VR game reviews. Also add indie games to the mix. So I'm just going to reply. Absolutely. I really am going to do more of all of these things. Nothing major is going to veer from my standard operations in Game List Plus. I just want to um, keep things interesting and add more of what I can when I can. So yeah, and definitely adding more Steam VR and like PC VR stuff, especially as the Steam frame is coming along, because that is all PC gaming, PC VR, which is awesome. Absolutely, I'll be continuing what I've been doing with a definite adding of Steam VR content with the Steam frame on the horizon. Horizon with a Z. All right. First live reply. Okay, let's move on to the next. Anyone in the chat? Do you have any questions or things that you want to talk about? I'm here live, so I mean, feel free to jump in if you have any thoughts on the comments that I'm reading at the moment that I'm at them. Whatever, I'm going to try to keep my eyes on the chat as well, so I can see what you guys think as well. So next we have Rod Brett. Let's scroll down to Rod Brett. He responded 4 days ago to the same video. Steam Frame isn't killing Quest 3, so what is Meta doing? He says, nice lengthy response. Given the current specs of the Steam frame, I'm not sure the virtual big screen experience for flat gaming will be that great because it's the same as the Quest 3, and I wasn't that impressed playing games that way because of the really cut down resolution and refresh rates of the virtual screen. You barely get a 1080p pixel resolution when you consider the 2K panels are stretched to cover the entire virtual environment around you, and your refresh is limited to 90 hertz. Cool for other things like 3D gaming and VR, but I probably won't use the device in that way. Anything involving a virtual screen is going to come with a huge sacrifice in resolution compared to a 4K TV or a monitor in front of you. Only headsets that looked really close were premium. The only headsets that look really close were premium devices like the Vision Pro or Play for Dream. I'm not sure what Play for Dream is, Rod, but this is the thing. I'm not 100% sure we're going to have that big downscaling of resolution like you did with the Quest 3. I'm pretty sure you won't, because the way that the Steam frame is set up to work is that you will actually have there's a dongle that plugs into your PC and it streams directly to your Steam frame. So you'll be able to have much higher resolution and much deeper detail in anything that you're transmitting from your PC. It's a much more direct link than you get with the Quest 3. I'm not sure if it's going to be like too dramatically different than setups where you're plugged in with the Quest 3, but I imagine with that being the biggest way that they're connecting directly to the system, I imagine that the resolution when your screen is blown up in the space, like if I have a big floating screen in front of me, I imagine that the resolution will not be sacrificed too dramatically in that sense. Because of the fact that it has such direct connectivity and it's meant for that. It also has its own standalone stuff, but let me just respond to him in the best way. I should probably just use the audio recorder to give these responses. I think you can actually do You can actually add audio responses nowadays, but I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm just going to type a short response to him about this. I'm pretty sure with direct connectivity, you'll be able to get a better resolution, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, drop that as my response. I'm wondering, you guys, what do you think? Should I say in the comments to check out this live stream to see? I'm not even sure. This is my first time trying this, so let's just see. Direct connectivity, you will be able to get a better resolution, but I'm not entirely sure. In any case, it's a great feature that I'll be using because I will. Especially, pretty sure that with direct connectivity, you'll be able to get a better resolution, but I'm not entirely sure. In any case, it's a cool feature that I will be using, especially if stereographic options become available, as Steam has stated that they intend to add, which is true. And a really, really cool possible feature that they're going to be adding is actually having stereographic images as you play your 2D games. So I don't know if it'll work with things like Cyberpunk or things like that, but potentially in the future we'll definitely have that option. But when it comes to just 2D games that you play on a 2D screen, there is a way to do it even now with the right setup on a PC, but they're talking about actually implementing it in a standard way where you'll be able to play 2D games on a flat screen, but it'll be like a 3D TV. So it'll make your games that are 2D games in VR on a flat screen three-dimensional, if that makes sense. So, yes, hopefully Rod gets this response, even though it is 4 days later. A lot of these responses are from a few days ago because I haven't been able to jump on here to do this live stream until right now. But if you guys have anything else you think about this, I mean, are you looking forward to seeing the actual Steam frame working in terms of like having your games be in 3D? Is that even something that you've heard about? It's a real thing and it's actually really cool. I'm thinking about doing a video about it on the Quest 3, but it's a large amount of setup to get it working. But there are some games that it can actually turn 3D in that same exact way on your Quest 3 right now, but it's definitely going to take a lot of finagling and figuring stuff out to make it happen. So we'll try it, hopefully. If I have the ability to make it happen, I will try. All right, moving on to the next comment. Neo Red 1608, same responding to that Steam Frame video. The Steam VR, let me see. Is that the whole thing? No. Got a lot of hefty responses. A lot of times the responses to videos are very much just like, hey, love the video, blah, blah, blah. But this definitely struck a chord with a lot of people because I was saying that this Quest 3 isn't dead and that, it's just kind of shifting gears. And a lot of people are in big disagreement with me, and then others are fully in agreement. So let's see what this guy says. Neo Red 1604 says the Steam VR, if they're capable of graphics and speed and keeping up with their updates without any heating issues, even over time, lasting well more than just a few years and not forcing everybody to upgrade every year or two to the next generation, they might actually do pretty good, and I don't see a huge profit other than sales of their gaming headset. They'll have to implement a monthly membership fee like the PlayStation and many other consoles had to do. They would have to obviously store more of the games on Steam, then that way they don't have to worry about storage on their VR as much as other companies like Meta. They would have to deliver updates to fix bugs. The VR PC community, especially for gaming designers, would be extremely vast. Companies that specialize in PC VR would fall behind considering programming and upgrading to new games. Steam would pretty much corner the PC VR market, making it the number one seller in VR headsets in just a matter of a few years. Hopefully, they don't try to control the market by forcing everybody to purchase new headsets every year or two, like iPhone does with their phones and Meta does with their headsets. Mark Zuckerberg might want to look into trying to buy out Steam before it's too late, or starting some kind of new meta gaming VR community that specializes in making top of the line VR games. That's pretty much the only thing that would save Meta. Hmm. So he has a lot of things that he's saying here. I'm gonna I'm just gonna kind of break down piece by piece and just go through the different little steps of this because it's a lot of responding. The Steam VR, if they're capable of graphics and speed and keeping up with their updates without heating issues, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I have a system plugged in, set up in my Quest 3 right now, where you can literally up the quality of almost anything you use on the Quest 3, and it makes the system run a little hotter, but it doesn't push it past its abilities. It may drain the battery faster and make it warmer on your face, but it's not going to cause any real issues. Obviously, heating is a big issue when you're talking about a PC. That's something you deal with as a separate thing. And I'm sure that Steam Frame, the system itself, is going to be, because it's a self contained system, much like the Steam Deck, it won't have the ability to just like overheat itself. You know what I mean? Like they're going to build it so that the fans will turn on and blow what needs to be blown to cool off the chips and everything as much as needed. And most of the time when you're playing the higher end games anyway, you're going to be streaming it from your PC that's doing all the heavy lifting anyway. So that isn't a big thing, I don't think. I think that that's going to be just out of the box. It's going to function just fine when it plays its own games. It won't push the system past what it can do unless you have some kind of overclocking system like the Quest 3 does. But I don't think it'll be that necessary because if it's anything like the Steam Deck, you'll be able to change all the settings you want as much as you want. And the biggest thing you'll have to worry about is battery life. But that's probably the biggest issue you'll have, not overheating with the headset itself. Um, I'm going to do a staple response that I'm going to put at the beginning of each of these replies that says to check out this live stream. Just a quick little note of I replied to this in the live stream. Oops, I need to learn how to type. On what's today? January 22nd? Yeah, I guess that would be one way to do it. Um, and I know I can add, I saw there's an option to add a voice response. I haven't done that yet, but I'm just going to put, I replied to this in my live stream on blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to copy this and just paste it at the beginning of each of these replies of today so that people who check it can actually pop in and see this afterwards. Um, I'm not going to put timestamps because that's a little bit extensive, but they'll be able to find it, I'm sure. I replied to this in my live stream on 122.25 with a little dash so that people know. Okay. Doubt. Yeah, and he's saying updates without having heating issues, even over time, lasting well more than just a few years, and not forcing everyone to upgrade every year or two to the next generation. They might actually do pretty good. I don't see a huge profit of blah blah blah. They have to implement a monthly membership fee. I don't know about all that. I think that Meta has been doing a fine job with the way that they've been setting it up for a while. Yeah, I don't think that that's going to be an issue. What do you guys think? I haven't had anybody speak in the chat yet. Are you there? I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I'll add it in my response to what this guy is saying if it makes a valid point. I'm just kind of curious what you think about it. I don't think that it's really going to be. I think it's going to be Steam as it is. I think that the way that they do things right now works just fine. Things that are popular are popular. I don't think they're going to need to have like a subscription service or anything like that. I think that the landscape of the way games are made has changed quite a bit. All these other companies, we'll talk about it later on in the stream, but even Ubisoft has this whole restructuring that they're doing that just was announced yesterday or the day before. Um, all these little indie filmmakers, all these indie game makers are making games because it's possible now and releasing them, and they're doing really well. Games like Ball Pit, I mean, technically that was not an indie game, but things like Ball Pit or Clover Pit, which was an awesome little indie game that I absolutely got addicted to. Um, Schedule One was a great example made by like one guy. There are a lot of things that are coming out. Megabonk as well. There's lots of stuff that's coming out on regular PC gaming that is like individually made that's really good. And I've spoken with developers for Meta Quest games that were made just for Quest or just for uh, PC VR and had some direct conversations with them. And the reality is, it's like a lot of times these little games are made by one person and they do just fine if people like them and they purchase them. So I think we're in a strange transition where like there's going to be a lot more people just buying games because they like them, and I don't think that all the AAA. I think the AAA world is just going to change drastically. I think we're in a transition period where there, of course, will be massive AAA games, much like there will be massive blockbuster movies, but indie smaller stuff is going to bubble to the surface. I mean, there's so much stuff out there, but the really good quality stuff that people really latch onto, it wins because people are tired of the same old, fetch questy kind of experience. So anyway, I digress. I'm just gonna go back to this comment here. I replied in my live stream, blah blah blah. I doubt overheating will be an issue. Let me condense what I'm saying here. They would have to deliver updates to fix bugs. The VR PC community, especially for game designers, would be extremely vast. It already is. Yeah. Steam would pretty much corner the PC VR market. Yes, I agree. Steam would definitely. I'm not going to go too deep into each of these responses because they can watch this video or, it's more for everyone to kind of get an idea of. I'm reading it to you for the sake of the same reasons, just to, give all the angles. Um, Steam definitely could corner this market with Meta being more about experiences. The VR PC community, especially for game designers, would be extremely vast. Companies that specialize in blah, blah, blah. Um, Hopefully, they don't try to control the market by forcing everyone to purchase new headsets every year or two, like iPhone does. Yeah, and he mentions that everyone has to buy new iPhones, and Meta does with their headsets. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really true. The Quest 3's been out for 3 years. The Quest 2 was a good 4 years, I think, before they were even talking about the Quest 3. So I don't think that they're pushing new headsets all that much. But I'm not going to comment on that part on here. I'm going to just leave this as is. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Okay, so this is jumping to an entirely different video that I did. This was one of my more popular videos, 10 must-try MetaQuest 3 visual experiences, non-games. I'm just kind of going in order here because there are lots of comments to get through. Some of them are going to be short and quick. This one's probably pretty short. And a lot of times this is just suggestions, things that I myself am going to try out, and I may have to pull up and look at myself as we go here. My favorite on Quest 3 is Shark Whisperer Oceana. So this video was about visual experiences. So these are suggestions from this person, Moab-UT. They are very immersive to walk around. Immersive home is relaxing, and the hyperscape rooms are great, like he means Gordon Ramsay's kitchen. Amazing. Yes. So I said, yes, quite amazing. I'll have to check those out. Hyperscape really is amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but on Quest 3, there's a whole app where you can scan a room and use the headset to scan it, and then it's like you're standing in it. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to be featuring it. As I said in my response here, Hyperscape really is amazing. I'll be featuring it in an upcoming video about non-game experiences. And I'm going to put the little additional note that I talked about this today. Next one on here, we're going to move on down to, ooh, back to the same. The Steam frame isn't killing Quest 3 video. This response is, I bet Valve invests in a lot of VR games for Steam frame. I'm sure they will and already are. That's, I feel like, a given. There's no doubt in my mind that Steam is pouring a lot of money into VR games for the Steam frame. I mean, they're releasing it this year. Everything's under wraps. They're not really talking about a lot of stuff, but a ton of the games that are out on Quest are already being announced as being ported over to Steam frame standalone. And the potential is just so massive. There are so many games that are already, there's a wealth of games already there for Quest 3 and for PCVR that they can port directly to the headset. And guaranteed, they're going to be releasing tons of games that will be very specifically and exclusively for Steam Frame. I really do feel like Steam is going to take over the reins as the main gaming VR headset. And it just makes sense. The question is, will it come out for a price that will be grabbable for most people, because the Quest 3 really still is the best way to jump in. And just because stuff is going to come out on the Steam frame doesn't mean it can't come out on the Quest 3 as well. It's just another system. I think that we're going into a time now where it's going to be similar to the way that we have Xbox and we have PlayStation 5. Like, look, both today they just announced that Fable is coming out on Xbox, PC, and guess what? PS5. So day and date. It's coming out for PS5. It's an Xbox game. That's just the way things are starting to go. Is games need to be in the hands of as many people as possible, and the Quest 3 can do the same things that the Steam frame can do, but they have to reallocate their direction of who they're giving money to for the focus to be as a release, if that makes sense. Like, so they're going to have to they're shifting money away from giving it to Meta Studios to do this, that, and the other, because Steam is going to be like, hey, we want more attention on our system first, and maybe they'll get an exclusive first release for a while and then release it on something else later. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, guys? I haven't heard anybody say anything. I've had a few concurrent viewers this whole time, but no one seems to be chatting. But anyway, give me your 2 cents. Let me know what you think. I'm just responding. I bet Valve invests a lot in a lot of VR games for Steam Frame, and I'm just gonna say I replied to this in my live stream. I'm sure they will and already are. Reply. All right, let's move on to the next one. Meta is heading towards what Apple is doing. Their next VR headset is going to focus on more so in, I think they just mean focus more so to being like the Apple Vision Pro. Gaming will not be their priority anymore. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Hopefully not as expensive though. Expensive as Apple, I guess. I agree. Hopefully, not quite as expensive as Apple. Yeah, that would suck if the next Meta headset that came out was 14 or 18 or $2,000. I wouldn't be getting it. And that's the whole thing. I think Meta, because they already have so many chips, like they'll probably be able to take the parts from the Meta Quest 3 headsets that they haven't sold and like reallocate and put a lot of the parts in new machines. They're going to be fine. And we'll see all kinds of cool stuff coming. Uh, Mad Burtis says it looks like scorched earth. I don't really think so. I feel like I think it looks bad, but looks worse than it is. I replied, in my live stream, blah, blah, blah. I think it looks worse than it is. Things always shift in this industry. Yeah, they really do. Uh, Rude, Rude Boke responded, Forefront will save the day. Um, Perhaps it will. I haven't played Forefront. Has anyone in the chat played Forefront at all? That is, it's a multiplayer. I think it's head to head. I'm not really sure. I have it, but I have not tried it. I'm not really big on the shooters in VR. I get a little bit of motion sickness if I do too much crazy action. Um, Let me know in the chat if you guys have played Forefront. I don't know if Rude Boke is being facetious or if they really think that it's actually gonna do that. See, I don't even know how to respond to that fully, but I do like these responses. I forgot to hit thumbs up on these. Virtual. Love that. Okay. This guy says you should focus on PSVR2 game reviews. Fair. I did do a PSVR top 10 list. The PSVR 2 world is not as big as the Quest 3 world. And there are some creators out there who have so much content on the PSVR 2. I don't really get as many hits with PSVR 2, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do PSVR 2 game reviews. I've been trying to do kind of combinations of talking about both if I can. Like I did a top 10 list of the best PSVR 2 games of 2025, and I also did a Quest 3 best games of 2025. And some of those were crossovers, and I tried them on both systems, so I got a good idea of both. Um, so I'm definitely going to be doing that. I replied to this in my live stream. I'm definitely going to be covering more PSVR 2 games, especially exclusives, if we get more anytime soon, which is true. What we got some responses in the chat. Hi, Stephen Mendoza. Let me finish sending that. Yes, like that. Let's scroll down. And PC Gaming, let's see. M1KBH0Y. PC gaming seems to be on the up in a general sense, and VR seems to be in a decline, sadly. Like all of us, are you hoping Valve are coming to rescue VR? I genuinely I don't think that VR is in as much trouble as people seem to think. I feel like there's definitely 100% cutting back, but I've been seeing the way that the VR world has its ups and downs for a while now, and it very much so it's just not that popular. Like it is, but it isn't. It is nowhere near as popular as any other type of gaming. So I don't think that it's like falling off a cliff. I think that it's just slowly they're trying to figure things out still. And with games like Deadpool VR not selling super well, they get scared because they spend a ton of money on something like that. And then it doesn't do well. And then they pull back and they stop funding things. And it's just a cycle, like that. But that's the thing is like it comes down to quality content. And like I was saying a few minutes ago, there are VR developers who are incredibly talented and are able to pull together um, apps and experiences that are very much just like themselves putting it together, and it's really great quality. So I think that we're gonna have a time coming up where a lot more solo small developers are gonna get their day in the sun as Valve brings that possibility to them, if that makes sense. More people will be willing to try fun and interesting new things with the Valve, with the Steam frame, because it's a new system that can play all their Steam games, but then it'll open up the doors for a lot of developers to make a lot more content that is in VR and broaden the audience. And I think it's a supply and demand thing. Like we just need more people who want to play VR, and even if it's just simple things, it'll grow the industry a lot more, and people will care about it more, if that makes sense. Steven Mendoza, is it a tutorial of VR or something? No, I'm actually just commenting and talking about. I'm actually reading comments that people have posted on my videos over the last like month or so, and I just am going into tangents talking about specifics because just now I got a question about PC gaming, and I'm giving my opinions. Everything that I say is, take it with a grain of salt. It's just what I think. I'll back up my claims and ideas as much as I can, but it's just my thoughts and my impressions. I've been doing this channel for 3 years almost. VR becoming one of the main things about it, that I talk about on the channel. But I've been playing and using VR for a very long time. There was Google Cardboard back in the day that literally you put your phone in and you hold it up to your face and you could like do experiences and see videos and stuff. So there's a lot more to VR than just gaming, and I think that that's the reality, is that we're at a point where people think that because VR gaming is having a little bit of a rough time, that all VR is like on its way out, and I think it's the opposite. I think it's growing pains as we go. So I'm going to move on to the next comment on the list here. This one's from Imhotep 397. Rumor has it that the Steam frame slash Steam machine is also cooked, bro. Component shortages and price gouging is real. It sounds like they cut a deal to put Steam on PlayStation 6. Hmm. What a rumor. What a Oh, nice, Steven. Nice. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate you speaking up in the chat. Thank you for watching. What time is it in the Philippines? It's got to be pretty late at night, right? Uh, uh, but welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Rumors the Steam machine is also cooked. Component shortages and price gouging. I hadn't heard that. I said I hadn't heard that. The question again was: rumor has it the Steam machine is also cooked. Component shortages and price gouging is real, which they are 100%. It sounds like they cut a deal to put Steam on PlayStation 6. I had not heard that, but I said I hadn't heard that. There's always going to be something new coming. As long as gaming is alive, I think Steam will be fine. Steam is massive, and the amount of money is more massive. All right, the next one. Let's see. Meta VR is cooked, bro. Camouflage heads were fired. 70% of the workforce fired. In development, game canceled. VR is still alive, though. Yeah, well, that's again, I have to agree that things are shifting. He said at the end, after all that VR is still alive. Um, VR is. VR definitely is still alive. I think Meta's just changing their pattern. More experiences, less games. Mm, mm, mm. All right, let's see what he has. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, yeah. See, this is what I was talking about just a couple minutes ago. We are a small daddy-daughter duo indie development studio making games committed to all our games supporting VR. I love my MapQuest 3D because it's universal and I can remote desktop with it and relax and meditate, play local VR games or PC VR games. As far as Horizon, it's just the way they implemented it seems to be what the main issue is with me. VR chat and other third-party or producing the same kind of world, giving the user complete freedom or creating their own worlds. Obviously, as a small studio, we will have to get Steambox VR, I think he means Steam Frame, set up to support it as well. I agree VR is I agree VR is it dying. It's the evolving stage. And like every other tech company, they're in reorganization through the amount of layoffs playing the gaming industry as a whole. I think that everything that William Shoemake 9578 said is very accurate. I'm gonna like and reply. Yeah, absolutely. I replied in the live stream. Absolutely. I think it's just a time of change. Definitely. Uh, uh, uh. All right, let's scroll down to the next one. Most of these responses today are from this one video because it really got a lot of people upset. Not the video, just the things that are happening. So Paul Nicholas 172 says, as a PSVR2 owner, there was loads of hype that it was finished over a year ago simply because one software house closed down, which only produced one game anyways. But here we are today, and it's as popular as ever. So here we are again. A lot of people are saying Quest is finished. Really? I doubt it, as it still has a large fan base and still has a way to go. But even if no more software comes out for it, there will still be tons of games and experiences to play on it, and it still is good for PC VR games and it's great for movie watching and as a multimedia device. So I think it will still be very popular for quite a few years to come. So if Quest 3 is finished, then I'm going to get a much cheaper one within half a year and enjoy some wireless VR gaming and movies. So personally, I'm not complaining. I'm not paying over a grand for a Steam Deck when I can buy a used Quest 3 or for very cheap very soon. And I think that a lot of people will feel the same, especially Quest owners who already have the headset. So yeah, again, Paul Nicholas, right on the money there. I think that that is a very good point. Um, Steven Mendoza. Yes, I did read your comment. Sorry, I didn't realize that there were even ads set up on here. I'm still learning the live streaming situation right now. Let's see, what was your comment? You're reading all the comments, even live comments. Yes, absolutely. I'm reading both. I'm just kind of hopping around. I'm going to keep checking what's on here. And then I'm reading comments from not just this one last video, but all previous videos. This whole live stream today is all about chatting and talking to the audience. That's you guys. So if you have specific questions and you want to talk about something, we'll definitely jump on it. And for right now, I'm just going to continue on with these comments that I have. I've left them on purpose to kind of go through in today's video. And I'm going to be doing probably like one of these comment reading videos per month going forward, just as a way to have people's comments get talked about a little bit more and have more of the community that watches this channel get a chance to kind of interact and see their own comments talked about, etc. So back to what I was saying with Paul Nicholas 172. I definitely agree with what he's saying. That the headset has such a huge, like, there's so many people who have Quest 3s and Quest 2s, and people who are still buying Quest 2s because it's still almost all the games that come out for the Quest 3, not all of them, but a lot of them are still being released also for the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro. So it's not just games and it's not all top graphics and all that. There's so many experiences and ways to use VR. And he made a good point. If you don't want to get a Steam Deck, with the Quest 3 being less supported or less of a big headset for the masses and the Steam frame becoming more like that, it'll become cheaper probably for used used headsets, etc. So it's a really good point that he's making here. So I'm just gonna say I'm gonna definitely point out that I agree. I said I agree. A time of transition more than failure. All right. On to the next one. uh, I'm not going to say certain parts of this out loud, but my prediction is that Meta will take over a certain type of the market. It's always been where a lot of the money is. I'm just going to put LOL. Possible. And let's see, this one says all Meta ambassadors should band together and leave the Meta content creator program in support of those who have been let go from their jobs. Well, interesting. Meta ambassadors. I think he means Meta affiliates. Um, I'm one of them. I'm a Meta affiliate, and I don't think that people realize that doesn't mean as much as it might seem. Like, I do make like a small amount of money from sales through affiliate sales, which I talk about. But it's not enough to support me in any way. I actually have two jobs. So quitting the program, which is one of the only ways that I make money on YouTube, would not be, I don't think that's really a fair way to, that's not a fair demand, if that makes sense. Let me see the comments. Sorry, there was an ad. Did you read? Neo Red 1608. What did you say about my comment? Oh, you were one of the ones at the top. Let me see. Let me go back up to the top. Neo Red. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to go back over the whole thing, but let me see. Since you're here live, I'll definitely look at it again. The Steam VR, if they're capable of graphics and speed, keeping up with their updates without any heating issues. I was saying that I don't think that we're going to have major issues with overheating. Much like the Quest 3, it's a self-contained system. So unless you have an overclocking software installed, it probably won't be an issue. It's most of the hot issues will come from the systems themselves. Um, and then let's see, they might have actually pretty good, do pretty good. I see a huge profit in sales in their gaming headsets. Oh yeah, and you had mentioned that maybe like hopefully that they might do like a subscription system. I don't think that they will personally, just because I feel like the subscription services, that's just not a Steam thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's not a path that they're going to go down. And I don't think, I don't know. I know that a lot of people have those, and there's one with Meta. It's possible for sure. It is definitely a possibility, especially if it's like lower level titles that aren't, or just like the most popular titles, because you can definitely get Quest Plus or Horizon Plus, whatever it's called, and that gives you access to a lot of the titles. Yeah, so it's possible. I feel like they don't need to as much because there'll be lots of PC games that are low cost. I mean, Steam sales are amazing. If that makes sense. And let's see what else. Steam would pretty much corner the PC VR market. Yeah, and I agree. Like if their entire focus is on games, then that most likely will be the case that they'll completely corner the PC VR market. Um, they've already been really successful in the PC VR market. I mean, in Valve, they made Half-Life Alyx, which is arguably the best VR game still, and that was so many years ago. And I can't wait to see if they're going to do like a standalone version for the Steam frame. It's not powerful enough to do what it does on a PC. It's still worth playing it on a good quality PC, but it's beautifully done. So Mark Zuckerberg might want to look into trying to buy out Steam, which I don't know. I doubt very much that he's going to bother. I think that they're going to shift more towards the the wearables, like the mixed reality. Um, that whole what did they call it originally? That $15,000 pair of glasses that he put on during one of those previous showcases where you can actually do full mixed reality AR experiences with glasses on. And that's, I think, where Meta's headed more. I think that the gaming space is going to just kind of stay in another lane. I think it's going to be two divergent paths. Um, but I don't think Meta's in trouble though. I think that they're going to manage to keep things going. I know personally a lot of my audience on this channel are people who don't even care about games, that they really love experiences, and Meta is doing maybe not enough, but I think, like I was saying before, supply and demand. If there are enough people who want to see more animated movies in VR and things like that, the more people who want it, the more it'll get made. So it's just a matter of finding those audiences and getting people actually interested. So let's scroll back down. Does that answer enough of the question for you, Neo Red? Feel free to comment back. I love that you're actually here in chat. So anybody whose comments are right here in chat, please feel free to respond back to my response. I'm very curious to see what you have to say. So the what I was on before was all Meta ambassadors should band together and leave the Meta content creator program in support of those who have been let go from their jobs. I don't think I don't think that's necessary personally. I'm just responding kindly. I have two other jobs other than YouTube, and I'm one of the lucky ones. Yeah. So he said a Meta ambassador should band together and leave the Meta content creator program in support of those who have been let go from their jobs. And I said, I don't think you realize how little we make from the affiliate program. I have two other jobs other than YouTube, and I'm one of the lucky ones. And that's true. It's really not some major money making situation, especially with sales being up and down and random and not great. So I get the point. It's like a solidarity thing, but I don't plan on leaving the program personally. If it's gonna die, it'll die. But I don't think Meta's gonna go anywhere for a long time. Who wants to play games in a headset on a big screen? Not me. If I'm not in VR, you can forget it. Fair. Sorry, Stephen Mendoza 4609. Oh, I know. Oh, well, I'll still probably be here when you get back, Stephen, so feel free to have some dinner. Enjoy your dinner. I'm actually hungry myself. I haven't had lunch yet, and it's late in the afternoon, but I'm gonna just keep plugging along here. Let's see. So he said Jimmy Yan Taylor 8030 says, "Who wants to play games in a headset on a big screen? Not me. If I'm not in VR, you can forget it." I'm just gonna say fair. I said, fair, not for everyone. If it's stereoscopic 3D, though, would you try it then? And let's see, the next one is from Huntington 1234567 8. He said, I just subscribed and I like your optimism. I do. But I don't know. Can't really feel your meh, no big deal after Meta, the far and away leader in VR headsets, just steamrolled a fat chunk of their VR innovators. It's not good news, and I hope you're right and I'm wrong. Fair. And then there was a response from someone. Someone else, Jadub Productions, said things will be fine for VR and for Meta. Things are just evolving, and that's a good thing. More and better things will come out, and from other companies too. Things are and will be fine. Yeah, I agree 100%. Reply to the original message. I hope for all of us. In any case, I hope for both. I I hope for all of us. I'm right. In any case, the story continues. And I'm going to reply to Jadub Productions, just saying 100%. Wait, how do I do? There's got to be. There's a way to do emojis. Does anyone know in the chat how to do emojis with a keyboard on Mac? There's like a keyboard shortcut to pop them up. Let me see. Is it Control Command Space? It is. There we go. I'm used to doing it on my phone. Today, doing it on the computer. Sephora, welcome to the chat. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. I'm glad you made it into an actual live stream. I'm reading comments today, and yeah, it's nice to see Sephora joining the chat. Things will be fine for VR and for Meta. Things are just evolving, and that's a good thing. More and better things will come out, and from other companies too. Things are and will be fine. And I'm just simply typing, I agree. With a little, cool guy glasses. So let's see. Next, we have Chaos Ordeal 294. These decisions, and this is again talking about the same video, the Steam frame isn't killing Quest 3. So what is Meta doing? These decisions are always made exactly the same way. Corporate number crunchers look at likely profitability and axe everything that seems unlikely to make X amount of profit. X percent profit, I should say. There's no secret sauce. That's it. The words Steam frame didn't enter into it. It didn't enter into it, and Harry Potter and Batman were only considered in profitability projections. Meta may have to respond to the frame in a year or so if it takes off, but right now it's just another part of the reliably uncertain future. That's fair. I mentioned that the Steam frame is part of the reason that they've scaled back, etc., in that video. And since posting the video, I've thought about it, and I'm like, maybe, maybe not. There is part of me that just thinks it is literally just like I was saying a little while ago. It's just numbers. Like they're looking at a sheet and they're seeing Deadpool didn't sell that well. We're scaling it back. This didn't sell that well. We're scaling it back. I know there's one of the responses I'll get to. Someone was like, "Oh, they canceled Batman 2 with Camouflage Studios," but it was never even confirmed. So we don't know if it was canceled officially. I mean, I guess if they announced it's been canceled, that's fair. But it hadn't been announced officially. So there's just a lot of stuff that is so ethereal, and who knows about all of this. I just don't think that anything is that much in trouble. I think certain people's jobs have been lost. Certain companies are, laying off people because Meta cut funding, but I do agree with Chaos Ordeal that it's largely just number crunchers. They're deciding on things based on all this stuff that's just evident numbers on paper. Mm, I see what you're saying. So much of this is just numbers on paper. VR will be fine. It's just changing a bit. Mm, mm, mm. I know, Sephora, it's nice to see that you actually caught one. I haven't been doing that many of them, but I do intend to do these much more often. Probably like once a month, I'm going to do a live stream where I'm just like replying to comments live. It's kind of fun reading them live because it's kind of like immediate reactions. I sometimes will just see them because they'll pop up in my feed on my phone when I'm just checking my stats as I'm checking on the videos and how they're performing. But I've been saving these for this specifically. So this, as well as other live streams and stuff I'm going to be doing. After I go through these, I'll talk a little bit about some of the announcements today that were pretty exciting. I'm actually going to do a full featured video on Fable because it looks amazing and I'm actually genuinely excited about it. And it's coming out later this year. And that has nothing to do with VR, but um, as you know, Game List Plus isn't just about VR. But today we're talking largely about VR because that's what most of these responses are from, is from this recent video that I did. Well, that's really nice of you to say, Sephora. I'm gonna do more of them for sure. YouTube, I've in a system like a YouTube creator program with YouTube, and they've been encouraging me to do more live streams. So I'm definitely going to be doing more of them, even if it's just hopping in here and hopping on the mic and talking about whatever I feel like. It's fun to do, and it's great when people are actually here chatting with me. So thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. I didn't mean to like my own thing. There we go. All right. All right. Tony Hall 395, again in response to the same video. Almost everything is in response to the same video. So once I get through these responses, there are many others that are from previous videos that I'll also read. I think there are plenty of things to do in VR besides the newer huge games. It's still fun to use. Yeah, and you see it already got 5 thumbs ups, and I love that because it's absolutely true. I said absolutely true. There is so much more than gaming in VR. I need to start using these little emojis because they're fun. And I didn't completely realize I could do that on here. All right. Let's see. The decline of the AAA gaming model explains some of that, but if Meta is still keen on the casual fitness, etc. market, why did they shut down Supernatural? It's a good question for sure. That was from Jorik78. Um, that's the funny thing is it's a specific workout app, and it's definitely their most popular one. Why they shut it down, I don't know. I bet you it's just largely that people, much like other workout systems, they don't stick with one thing for very long. Both my sisters use Supernatural all the time. Still, they've been using it for years. Like both of them still have Quest 2s, and they both use Supernatural. So It's not like the system doesn't work anymore. It's still fully there and people are using it, as I can attest to from direct witnessing. Um, let me see. I'm just going to say, I think really that what it comes down to is that you can get lots of workout apps. I actually have a video about workout apps, and a lot of workout apps now, you don't have to have a subscription. And I don't want to pay a subscription on top of other things, period. So I think it's the subscription model. I think that's the reason. Like Lemil, was it Les Mills Body Combat, for example? You can pay for that one time and you have access to basically the same workouts as you would in Supernatural. They just don't have like all the live music that's directly associated with it. There's also one called Fun Fitland that's a subscription service. And really you're just paying for specific music to be in the workouts, but you can get the entire workouts without all of that. Uh, mm, mm, mm. Let's see. Thank you, Sephora. I see that you're relaxing to watch for sure. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I think it's the subscription model. People can get a lot of different workouts in VR for a set price now. Yeah, that's. Let's see, is there a flex emoji? Let's see what's next. The Carnage Show. Oh, I saw this one before. Wow. So you did like zero research. Why do you people have VR channels? Everything, including workrooms and fitness, got cut. Means Meta out of cheap headsets everyone can buy. Basically, the exact opposite of what you said. Well, uh, how do I respond to this? I did do research, actually. Information comes as it comes. What do I say? What's my response to this? I guess everyone has their own opinion. I said everyone has their own feelings about it. I'm remaining optimistic because yeah, I don't think it's as big a deal as everyone seems to think. We'll see. We'll see in coming months, but I don't really think that it's all that bad. He says everything including workrooms and fitness got cut. And he says everything. Everything. That's I beg to differ. Everything did not get cut, but all right. Moving to the next. Same video, obviously. Devil Brandon 1042. Sephora. Still want to disturb you, but since you're talking about VR, I love my Quest 3 so much and always feel impressed whenever I use it, but I lack motivation to use it often, sadly. You know, Sephora, it's funny you say that because it's such a thing. Like a lot of my motivation to use my Quest 3 is often because I'm doing stuff about it on the channel. And I think that's one of the big problems with VR is that it's not super easy to just use. Like you can turn on the TV by pressing one single button. You just go boop, turn it on, and you're done. You just, I mean, you obviously you're going to switch channels, or you'll find the thing you want to watch on YouTube and stream it to your TV or whatever. VR inherently has so many more steps. You have to put it on your head and you know, I think the big thing is that you're cutting yourself off from the rest of the world. Whereas when you're playing a regular video game, you're sitting there with the controller in your hand, but you're still in your space. And I think that's kind of one of the big things that is going to have to change with VR. And I think that's one of the reasons Meta is shifting a little bit. And the headsets are going to get smaller, they're going to get lighter, and it's going to become a thing where you're just wearing some glasses. So it won't feel like you're isolating yourself from the world, and it won't feel like this whole huge task. I feel like it's going to be more as time goes on. We're going to look back and be like, remember when we wore those big headsets on our heads? Um, but I also think that the drive to play with a big headset on your head will change when things are actually much more immersive. Like when we have like a treadmill to walk on and you really feel like you're completely in another world, like teleported somewhere else. VR just doesn't do that yet. You know, like there's a certain degree of that. And there's, you know, one of the cool things about VR is that immersiveness. But I don't think we're there yet. I think when the technology advances more and it's more like the Star Trek holodeck where you're like literally just gone from this world, people are not going to want to do as much switching off and going away into VR and being strapped into that little headset. But that doesn't mean that it's going away. It's just a modification of the way we look at it. I think over time we're going to start wearing wearables that are, you know, mixed reality more, and that'll be just easier access. You'll be able to play like a regular game with the headset on and then have like 3D things happen in the room while you're playing your flat screen game with your controller. You know what I mean? Like it'll be more just kind of integrated with reality. And then if you want like full real immersion craziness, it'll be more irresistible because it'll be truly mind blowing. And, you know, it's just a matter of those divergent paths. And I think that's where the meta will go more in the direction of the mixed reality stuff, and Steam and like the gaming stuff will become much more of its own thing. So I think it'll be sort of separated more. I like both and I do both, but I think that right now it's still the headsets are big, they're bulky and heavy, and it's more setup than is worth it much of the time. But if you really enjoy it and you actually get into it, I think you could probably for you specifically, Sephora, you probably once you actually get set up and you start doing it, you love doing it, but it's the motivation of going and getting the headset and putting it on and doing all that. It's the initiation that isn't as engaging, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know what you think. Welcome back, Stephen. Sephora says, I'm glad you can relate. Yeah, you're right about that. I'm definitely looking forward to the future of VR. I'm pleased you understand where I'm coming from, and it sounds like so much fun. Yes, yeah. And yeah, it really is. It's the thing. It's not just you. It's definitely. I think it's one of the reasons that the industry is kind of in a place where it's like, where do we go? What's going to get people to plop the thing on and just start playing again? So let's move to the next one. Oh yeah, Devil Brandon. Devil Brandon 1042. I don't feel like VR is dead, but as far as I can tell, Meta has a history of making really dumb decisions in the past, such as releasing the MetaQuest Pro, but foolishly marketing it as a VR headset for businesses. And on top of that, making it online required to function at all. I didn't even know that. That's ridiculous. Next, you have the removal of App Lab, which consistently resulted in the VR store being. Oops, I didn't open up the whole comment. Being. Oh, this is a long one. In the VR store being flooded by SE Gorilla Tag clones, which is so true. There are so many Gorilla Tag clones out there that I just don't even understand it. I don't understand how so much time is used making these and people just yeah, play them. They're I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Gorilla Tag personally. Nothing against anyone who is, but I just don't understand how there are so many clones. There's so many different versions. Um, and it's all just kids in there, like little kiddos. But next, you have the removal of App Lab, which consequently resulted in this VR store being flooded by Gorilla Tag clones, but also apps that literally look as if they were made by a 5-year-old. On paper, it did allow early access games as well as some of the other rarer VR games to be easy to find, but now you got to scroll even more to find anything that can be considered good. Last but certainly not least, this is probably the straw that's breaking meta right now is not necessarily the existence of Horizon Worlds, but the fact that it is being forced onto everybody's Meta VR headset, regardless if you're prompted to add it to your library or not. I 100% agree. That is one of the most annoying things when you go onto your Meta headset and there's all these little Horizon Worlds that are in your app list and you can't delete them, you can't get rid of them. I talked about this in the video actually. It's annoying and frustrating. Let me pause here. Sephora says, I love it when I get the motivation to use the headset, but the motivation to pick it up and put it on, having to make sure it's charged feels like a lot of effort, or maybe I'm just lazy. No, I don't think you're lazy. I think that's just a natural feeling. I try to make sure to just keep mine on a charging dock so that that issue doesn't come up. But then I have different charging docks because I've done different openings and stuff, and I have one that I love that I'm gonna actually leave it plugged into from now on. I'm gonna be doing some rearranging in here, so I intend to keep it just set up the same way. Hopefully, the dog barking is not completely interacting. Just dogs barking outside. My dog is barking. Anyway, I think I try to keep mine charged and ready to go. That's one of those things that does make a huge difference because if I am motivated to go play it, I'll go grab it and it's dead and I'm like, eh. And then I just set it back down. Maybe I'll charge it, but then by the time it's charged, I don't feel like playing anymore. So I say, yeah, just keep it charged. It helps. Mm-mm-mm. Back to what this guy was saying. And now on top of the app library, here, guys, I'll show you the dog. I have a newer dog. This is Buster. Hi, Buster. You're live on the internet. This is Buster. Probably one of the cutest puppies you've ever seen. I know. Sorry. I have Lola down here too. That's Buster. And this is Lola. She's the old girl. She's been around. She's not old. She's really just a little bit older than Buster. But yeah, they're both tiny, little chihuahuas. There you go. And now they're fine. They needed a little attention. That's the little one that I showed first. That's Buster. And Lola is the second one that I showed. Get out of there. I need some water, I realized. She was trying to lick my water bottle. I hate it when live streamers gulp so loud that you can hear it. So I try to swallow kind of quietly. Oh, you know what drives me crazy is when live streamers eat food like and it's munching into the microphone. I don't know if that's as disgusting to you guys as it is to me, but it's foul in my opinion. Like mouth sounds and chewing sounds. Ugh. What do you guys think in the chat? Yeah. Yeah, eating ASMR. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. Where was I? The existence of Horizon Worlds. Yes, I'm actually just going to start this reply. Uh, uh, mm, 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 mm. Now in the app library, yeah, forced to look at Horizon Worlds, blah, blah, blah. On top of that, whenever you go to the Meta Horizon mobile app, you got to make extra taps just to find the games. And it's very true. The App Store is terrible. It's genuinely terrible. And it's honestly, it's like if they could figure that out and just make it like where you can just click on the top selling or the top free or the top just like a lot of the other app stores that are out there. I don't understand what Meta is thinking with all that. It's genuinely terrible the way that they have it set up. You really I'll go on there to find a game that I want to download or that I've just heard about and it will just not come up at all, or I'll have to scroll through a bunch of stuff after I type it in. It's just it's goofy. It really is truly one of the bad and non-functional factors that I think is really hurting Meta. So I'm gonna yeah agree 100%. I feel like these idiotic decisions are coming back to bite Meta in the ass, and Meta realizes it. And on top of that, Quest 2 is about to stop receiving feature updates at the end of the year. And Quest 3 and Quest 3S combined only sold 5% of the units compared to the Quest 2. Meta has never been able to replicate the same amount of numbers they did earlier in 2020 and 2021 with Quest 2. I didn't know that, but it kind of makes sense. That price jump to $500 is quite substantial, but it's worth it, in my opinion. I think it's incredible. Like the fact that you could do so many different things. Sephora, yeah, you hate that too. It's just annoying. Like the way that the App Store works. And again, it comes back to what you were saying before about functionality. Like it's one of those things that you want to be able to just use things without having issues. Like if you see an app that you think is cool, you shouldn't have to go through 50 hoops to get it to work on your headset. You should be able to just play it, like you can on a phone. Like if you have an app you want to get, you just click and it installs it and you open it and you play it. It's that simple. And it needs to be like that, I think. That's one of the big problems with it. So I responded to his very lengthy Devil Brandon 1042's response. I agree in so many ways. Horizon Worlds is so frustrating, and yes, the Horizon store is a mess. They truly need to fix it. Each easy access needs to be the way things work, and they're failing at that. And let's see. Yeah, Steven, I love this live stream. My other account is Starble. Okay, cool. Are you? Yeah, very cool. All right, let's see. Lexman Brother 1239 says, people are not going to be satisfied until VR gives them full body tracking. There's nothing left to offer that isn't available through another VR headset. People want something different and interesting, like being able to use their feet in VR. Who cares about a giant screen? If that's all VR trying to offer people all a freaking big screen, then they will be DOA. That's fair. I do agree on a large way. VR, full body tracking. That's like I was saying before. It's like people want like full immersion, and putting on a VR headset just doesn't do it for a lot of people. I think it's not enough. So I'm just gonna reply to that in that way. I definitely feel you on that. People want real immersion. VR as it is today just isn't there. But there are plenty of use cases that make it worthwhile for many of us. Let's see. I love this response. Team Frame isn't killing Quest 3, so what is Meta doing? Is the name of the video. This Arnold Bliss 6238 says, it's not dead. I just played mine today. And that's, yeah, exactly. All caps. Exactly. And the right emoji. Let's see. What? Not that one. What's the right one? Yes. What is ASMR? ASMR is ASMR. You've probably seen it, but it's like sound effects. It's basically like you sit and you watch a video, but it'll just be like a person talking very quietly into the microphone and telling you something and giving you a very light and quiet story. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me properly, but it'll be that. And it's just like a relaxing thing that for it, ASMR. I forget what the. Let me look it up really quick. Actually, what does ASMR stand for? Um, ASMR. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Oh, wow, I didn't even know that. Here, I'll put this on the screen. So, uh, that's funny. I've thought about it. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. It's a phenomenon describing a tingling, calming sensation that typically begins on the scalp and spreads down the neck, upper spine, and sometimes limbs. This experience is triggered by specific auditory, visual, or tactile stimuli such as soft whispers, gentle tapping, crinkling sounds, or personal attention like actions. The sensation is often described as pleasurable, relaxing, and euphoric, with many people using ASMR videos to reduce stress, improve sleep, or manage anxiety. While not everyone experiences ASMR, estimates suggest that up to 20% of people do. It is a real subjective response supported by some psychological evidence, including changes in heart rate and skin conductance. Wow. It's gained popularity through platforms like YouTube, where creators produce content designed to trigger the response, often featuring role plays, slow movements, or high quality audio. Though still under scientific study, early research suggests it may have therapeutic potential, particularly for insomnia and emotional well being. And I mean, that makes sense to me. I feel like you could sit there and listen to the right audio and fall asleep to it for sure if it's like nice and calming. So I hope that answers your question, Stephen. Next question on the list. I play Supernatural daily, and they are no longer providing new exercise routines, but there still is quite a huge catalog of sessions. There still is a huge catalog of sessions to choose from. I truly hope this isn't the end of Supernatural. So many people like myself have enjoyed the high quality routines to keep us fit and entertained. And yeah, they're not getting rid of it entirely, I don't think, because it's still there. I just don't know if they're going to change the subscription service. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna pull up my exercise video and put the link for it because there's a whole bunch of other options out there that people don't even realize for other workouts because there are tons of other workouts. I'm gonna put the link in the response so they could just click on it. I made there we go. That's my sweat. Um, the title is on the thumbnail says sweat, but it's the must try MetaQuest 3 workout experiences. This one right here. Into it. I smacked my hand so hard on the wall at one point that I thought I maybe had broken my finger, but thankfully, one of the ones that I love is not that one. Les Mills
subscription-based workout app, but still want trainers to be pushing you as you punch and squat your way to fitness, then look no further than Les Mills Body Combat. This is exactly like the plethora of other subscription-based fitness apps, but with a more simplified but still incredibly effective system. But it's pay to play rather than month to month. I really like the trainers in this app and the fact that there is not a monthly subscription. Granted, you won't get the licensed big name music like you'll get from some of the other subscription apps, but you're guaranteed to get just as intense of a workout if you commit to those high scores. For days when I don't go to an actual gym, Les Mills and FunFitland fill that gap for me. And then I just jump back into games like Until You Fall after the intense cardio of Les Mills. Or I'll jump into one of the flat out coolest VR experiences out there, landing at number 3, Racket NX. Racket NX is a truly unique racquetball game in VR that gives you a great workout and makes you feel like you're digitally inserted into the world of Tron, if you remember that movie. There are other racket games in VR, but this one just feels the best. The controls feel intuitive and it's just a ton of fun. There's just something that feels so...
Anyhow, let's go back to these comments. So it says, Steven said, oh, I'm sorry. Didn't realize that was happening. Let me make sure that that's not still on the screen somewhere. You guys aren't hearing some other random music, right? Okay, good. I think I closed that box. It should be good now, right? Okay, good. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it was blasting on the speakers. I've still got to work out the audio issues, and I don't have earphones in at all. I just have this mic that I'm only using this one time. This is a mic that I got that I just unboxed. I'm going to release a video for the Maono mic. And it's pretty good. It doesn't sound bad, but I'm definitely going to switch back to my SM7B Shure microphone. It's a much nicer microphone. But this is a really cool one. I'm going to use this for my live streams when I'm playing games live in my living room. This will be my live streaming mic for the living room. Whereas when I'm here in the studio, I'll be using my better mic. And let's see, let's go back to where I was. I was replying about the exercise video. All right, let's see. Next person's comment is Andy Erickson, 3861 says, Meta needs a Quest 4, higher end screens, please. And someone responded, Polystrate, at least 2 years out. Yeah, I mean, I think it's bound to happen. Get that. It's bound to happen. Stephen, you're asking, am I going to be here soon? 1200? Is that, I'm not sure what time it is where you are. For me right now, it's 3 p.m. and I'm guessing I'll still be on at 4, but I'm not sure. It depends when I finish this list because I'm actually getting really hungry. But if you're following me, you can keep an eye. I'll be posting when I'm going to have live streams further ahead, so you'll know. And I hope that I'm going to be able to get onto a regular schedule. I'll be doing live streams more consistently, like more on a weekly basis, ideally, if not every other week or so. Hopefully once a week, I'll be able to hop on. And if demand goes up, I might start doing them a lot more often. And even if they're just like on my phone, I may start doing those too. I was looking at possibility of doing forward facing and reverse facing live streams on my phone, which I guess is a possibility. So we'll see. So Sephora, I didn't even realize you're in England. That's awesome. Thanks for staying up this late to watch. Let's see. What part of England do you live in, Sephora? I dated someone in London years ago. It's a beautiful country, truly. Let's see, back to this comment. Meta needs a Quest 4 higher end screens, please. And I say it's bound to happen, but it truly is a matter of when. And then Lexman brother 1239 says this isn't offering anything you don't already have. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's I think it's just a pathway aimed more at gamers. Gamers in all caps. I think it's just a pathway aimed more at gamers. We'll see how it goes. This person, NSBD90 now, says fitness isn't part of this. They just killed Supernatural. Same because in my video I mentioned that like fitness apps aren't really affected, and I still kind of feel that way. Granted, Supernatural is something that they kind of axed the further development of, but I don't think it's gonna hurt people using the Quest 3 as a fitness tool because people use it and it works. And I have family members who can attest to that 100%. Whether it's a Quest 2 or a Quest 3, I almost feel like a Quest 2 is better because it's less expensive. And if you break it from exercising with it, then it won't matter as much because it's not as expensive. I just said VR fitness is alive and well because it's true. Mm-mm-mm. All right, Stephen Mendoza, nice. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated your input. Sephora, you say you lived up north, about 5 hours north of London. I've never actually been to London. You lived in Scotland most of my life. That's awesome. How cool. My neighbor who lived in the house right next door, he grew up in Manchester, um, which I know is north of London. So I've never been to Manchester, but I've been to London a bunch of times. And it makes sense that you've never been to London because there are lots of places in California I've never been to. So just because you live somewhere doesn't mean that you have to go to every place that is nearby. As popular as it may be, people who live next to Disneyland don't even go there sometimes. What's this say? Monday? Boy. Sorry, I just got a casting notice. Let's see. That I had to reply to. Okay, where were we here now? Let's see. Oh, this is a whole thread that happened. 4 replies. So this one's definitely jumping into the Grand Theft Auto world because we're not just talking about VR at this point, which I'm not even sure how many comments are left. There are a lot left. Will I go through all of these? Oh, some of these are just responses to. Okay, we're getting closer to the end of these specific responses to that video. There's just a lot of responses to that video. Sephora says, Manchester, that's amazing. Very close. Very cool. Oh, and you're right by the beach. That's amazing. As much as I live right here in Los Angeles, the beach is Santa Monica. That's like the closest beach, but it takes so long to get there because traffic is so bad. Let's see. Where was I? Neon Red R7H. Not gonna lie, I don't care about Grand Theft Auto 6 with how Rockstar and AAA in general has been going. I have very low expectations. I mean, if it comes out and is good, cool. I'll get it at a discount. If not, fine. Definitely not pre-ordering. That's a fair response. Mm, I just said that's a fair response after all this time. And then there were some responses from other people. He underscore ISL. Purple hair devs have already decided you're not going to purchase it. I'm not the least bit concerned about GTA 6. Well, fair enough. I don't know exactly what they mean, but I'm not worried about it either. I'm sure it's going to do insanely well. Neon Red responded, it's not just that. You could be a dyed human pincushion and still not buy the game due to technical reasons. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018. Everything Rockstar has released since has been a buggy mess, and I know some of the remakes were outsourced to other studios and blah blah blah. The fact is, Rockstar as a brand no longer stands for quality. Um, I think they're doing. I think the potential is still there. That's my response to that because I really do. And then another response, they killed their own games. Yep, to sell the remakes. Piracy is the only way to play most of their catalog these days. Emulation is good too. Well, I can't agree to that. That's I don't know. I just feel like there's so much argumentation about games that are, not that they're not even new games. They're games that have been out for a long time and there are so many ways you could play them. So I don't necessarily agree with that either. Let's see. Neon Red, same person. Neon Red R7H. As somebody who is completely new to VR and looking at Steam Frame as my first VR device, it's wild coming into the VR discourse that is going on right now. Very doomer, very angry. I mean, I just got here, bro. WTF. It's funny. Uh, yeah, I am gonna have to reply to that because that's funny. Um, yeah, too much negativity. I said, yeah, too much negativity. VR is still a baby. And I do really truly feel like that. I feel like VR is still in its infancy in terms of the big picture. Another person responded, it's only doomer because the realization that was funding is non existent without a major player, and everybody knows Valve is not a major funder of games. That doesn't matter though. I'm just going to let that one be. FUD sells and gets clicks. I know what FUD means. So, for you know what FUD means? Uh, Nonchalance says, love your non gaming suggestions on Meta 3. Thanks. Heaps. Oh, thanks, heaps. You are very welcome. Thank you so much for saying that. I will continue. I'm actually working on another video right now that should be coming out in the next incoming weeks. I don't know exactly the date, but I'm working on another video of great experiences that are on the MetaQuest 3 that are not games. Because I know that's a huge thing. And that's one of the things that I also, the responses from everyone who love those videos and that kind of content just, it makes me feel very reassured that VR isn't going nowhere because there's a passion for VR content, period. It doesn't have to be a video game. And a lot of the stuff that I'm reading in these comments is all gamers who are like, "This is stupid. What the heck? They're canceling games." And it's like, not everyone wants to play games, you know? Like some people want to play both and do all kinds of stuff. And I feel like that's why it's splitting into two lanes. There's going to be more of a gaming side and more of a non-gaming side. And VR is it's a tool to be used in the world and in life more than it is a specific thing. It's like a monitor can do a lot of different things. Like you can look at a monitor and you can use it to play games, or you can use it to study, or you can use it to write. You can use it for all kinds of stuff. I feel like VR is the same kind of thing. It's just a medium, a way to do something differently. And it just happens to bring a lot of possibility to your day to day life. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll be publishing it soon. Thank you for popping in and saying that. Nonchalance. I thought I said neon. There was another person on here that had their username as neon just a minute ago. Neon red. All right, let's see. Next comment. Andre Billups, 4079. I actually think it is. I usually don't agree with the VR is dying idea, but all of Meta's upcoming exclusives and studios have mostly been closed. Even the next Batman has been canceled. If they cancel their biggest, most anticipated game and a Harry Potter game, then that gives no reason to believe that they're still developing more games. PlayStation doesn't release VR exclusives anymore either. So Andre doesn't really think that VR has a chance anymore. I disagree. I think this is just a shakeup. I disagree. This is just shakeup. Numbers on pages. Numbers on pages that will change with different supply and demand. Which, yeah. Yeah, that's enough. I'm not going to go too deep. I got to get through these comments. There are lots more than I thought when I started this stream. There are a lot of comments to go through. I'm not going to get too in depth on my responses because there are too many. Um, this one's funny. Steph McClay, 6 days ago, she said, "I've just bought a Quest 3. I feel chumped." Um, I'll respond to her directly, but then Ben MZK 3802 says, "Same, but Steam is here for us now." Then Giant said 83. Giant 83 says, "Nothing wrong if you just bought a Quest 3. They have the biggest library of VR games that should keep you going for a while." And that is 100% true. 100%. Wait, I want to use the 100% emoji. And I'm going to reply to the original one. Don't feel chumped. Nonchalance, you're saying, yeah, absolutely. It's not just gaming. Mixed reality is really awesome, and it's just the beginning of it. Like we're just starting to use it for really intuitive and fun things, and it's crazy. Like now there's a new setup within the Quest 3 where you can literally it'll just auto scan room to room, so you can go like throughout your entire house with the headset on, and it'll just create things within those spaces that you go through. So and that's just technology that they're continuing to advance. I don't think Meta is just like shutting everything down because of some changes to the industry. It's just not the reality. The reality is the technology is still there, it's still advancing, they're doing all kinds of things. It's just there's a lot of panic right now. So I responded to, I just bought a Quest 3. I feel chumped. I replied, don't feel chumped. It's an amazing system with a ton of awesome content. I'd buy it all over again today. So worth it. And I truly believe that. The Quest 3 is phenomenal. It's one of the best things that's come out in technology and in like home entertainment in, I don't even know, since the TV. Maybe the Nintendo. Let's see. Maybe the Switch 2 or the Switch 1. I don't know. But it's awesome. It's one of the most fun entertainment options out there in the world, and the negativity is, people just are going to be negative on the internet. It's real. So I don't get this comment. Same person. I've just bought the one that said I've just bought a Quest 3. I feel chumped. She says, of all the gay funkles he could cosplay, why is it yours? I don't understand that. Do you have any idea what that means? Nonchalant says, I tidied up one room for that. Yeah, see, it's tough. It is tough if you have like a lot of stuff in your house to just use the VR and walk around. Um, but do you guys have any idea what this means? Of all the gay funkles he could cosplay, why is it yours? I just don't understand it. Are they talking about me? I don't know how to respond to that. I'm just gonna say not sure what you mean. Am I missing context? LOL. Yeah, I have no idea. Uh, uh, um, then the next one is Matthews 4159. Nonchalant says, successful things for VR are the ones that aren't relying on VR to make it special. Storytelling, wow factor, using the technology as a tool rather than a standalone point of difference. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Storytelling and like innovation, that's the stuff that makes us go, wow, this is really awesome. Not just like, look at, like, I feel like there's a point in certain VR games where you're doing whatever you're doing and it feels like they're trying to like impress you with the fact that you're in VR, um, by just having things that flail around or arms and whatever things that clank on each other. And of course that's going to have some kind of appeal to people who have never done VR, but I feel like sometimes they force it into games and experiences to give you that impression like, wow, this is amazing, when there are a lot of us who have been playing games for years and experiences for years and stuff, and it's just not impressive and it feels hokey. Like, why are you trying to impress me with something that I've known about forever? It does need to stand more on actual content, like the actual storyline and the innovation. Like, there's this really cool game called Plus One Done, and it's a mixed reality game that I've talked about in one of my videos, where you build a little factory, but you do it all with your fingers. Like, you actually pick up and move the little pieces and set them in different areas, and you create a factory by recording your motion with what the thing is you're moving, and then it sets the recording and it does that repeatedly, and then you can set the next piece to do the next step, and it's just such a cool and innovative thing, and it's not like it's never been done before, but the fact that you're using your fingers in mixed reality in your own space to do it gives it this magic that's just so cool. I ended up spending like ages in there building this massive thing in my living room, that was just a ton of fun, and it's that kind of stuff. And it was one guy who made that app, and he spent a lot of time working out the ways to make it fun and interesting and find the right ingredients to pull together. And it's like a crafting game kind of. It's really cool. It's a ton of fun, and that's all based out of the innovation factor. And there's no story with it, but it's just there are so many things like that that are yet to be made in VR, that I think the more and more the masses see that kind of thing, the more and more VR in that sense and mixed reality will become more popular, because people just don't know about it. I feel like it's just if more people knew how cool it was, there would be a lot more people playing. And Meta is not doing the best job with getting it out there. Like, we just see like the concepts, and we see Beat Saber. Like, who cares about Beat Saber? Don't get me wrong. It's a great game and it's the most popular thing, but that's all people know about when it comes to VR. People are like, oh, that's that thing where you have the swords and you hit stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah, that game came out 14 years ago or whatever it was on the Oculus Rift. So anyway, I digress. Back to the comments. Actually, wait, what else did you guys say? I think the most agreed. It's Nonchalant says it's not a gaming platform only. Mixed reality has a wow factor for sure. Tidied up a room for that. I think the most successful things for VR. Yes, that was what I was responding to. Hyperverse or metaverse, you reckon, Steve, given these recent announcements? Um, Hyperverse or metaverse? You mean like the hyperscape thing where you can create, or you can like scan in spaces? Because I think that metaverse stuff, I think that that whole like Horizon Worlds thing, if that's what you mean, is it's just not that great. I think that going to real recreated spaces, that's the kind of stuff that people are really going to like with meta. Like if you can create a space and go join someone in it, which you kind of can. They haven't really fully implemented that yet, but being able to like use your avatar and jump into someone's living room, someone that you know because they scanned their living room, it's like joining them in their familiar place. I think that there's a lot more value to that than there is to, creating a Horizon Worlds area that people can come join you in. It's just not as, I don't know, it's just real spaces are far more interesting. And the fact that you can actually scan stuff in is really cool. And yeah, oh, okay, yeah, you're talking about the building stuff. Nonchalant says if you want to build a world, and I know that they announced new stuff where you can build your own stuff. It's like Minecraft, but very glorified. Um, yeah, I mean, there's that too. If you can create something that's actually engaging and interesting, you know what I mean? Like it's got to have something that's beyond just a space that you can run around in, because we want content. We want things that are sparking our imagination, and I feel like we're sort of desensitized in a large way. It's like, of course, it's going to be interesting to us that we made this cool area that you can run around in, but unless there's something to do, I don't think it's going to be all that exciting for most people. I mean, I can say that on one hand, but then you talk about something like Roblox, and Roblox is that, like, it's all these kids creating these big spaces for all these other kids to come hang out and play in, and but there are games and there are things for them to do. There's some kind of focus on each world that they create. So yeah, if that's what you're talking about specifically, then I don't know. I think that it's going to have some direction. There'll have to be something specific that people are intrigued about for a given space. And I've not had anything. I tried Horizon Worlds, and I think I went to like some place where there were people doing live performances, and it was just, they weren't good. It was like, why would I stay here if there's nothing actually happening other than just talking? And there's something to be said about just chatting with people, but I don't know. I just feel like there's so many, you could chat while you're playing a game. Let's see. Nonchalance in the last comment and interested in your thoughts. Apps like Strudel need to be part of something bigger. What is Strudel? Strudel. I'm not sure what Strudel is. Let me see if I can pull it up. Whoops. Let me readjust that so it's in the right spot. Strudel. Just going to pull this off to the side so it's not showing on the main screen. You draw stars in the air. And that's on MetaQuest. Oh, yeah, I see it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, have you used Strudel is a whimsical mixed reality experience where your fingers become brushes. Let's see. I'm not going to play the audio. I'm just going to yeah, you can do this with other apps too. But it's true. It's a really cool mixed reality app. And it's one of many. You can do a lot of this. I think the fact that you're using your fingers rather than the controllers for a lot of it, but you could use what you call it? Figment XR has these options, and there's all kinds of cool creative apps that can do all this stuff. If you haven't checked out my video about creative apps, there are a bunch that are out there that are super, super cool. In fact, um, what is it called? Shape Lab. They've got like you can make full-on 3D models in mixed reality right in front of you. Using your fingers though is a whole other cool way to experience this. Good suggestion. Let me see. We are at Matthews 4159. I think the problem is the Quest 3 $400 and the 3S $250. Google Gemini is free on the mobile phone you already paid for. Maybe money for glasses or pins for interacting with Gemini. VR is returning to a niche product for the few who want a brick in their on their head. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's always been niche. That's I said I think it's always been niche. It's just going through another growing pain. Okay. Chris Dunk. Oh, what do we have? I could not be less interested in Deadpool VR or any superhero tie-in game. When they announced they're canceling the Quest 4, then it would be a bigger deal. But most of the first party titles haven't been that great. YouTubers have to make videos to make money, so it's no surprise they're all making the same video these last couple days, which was last week. Excuse me. This is my so it's no surprise they're making the same video the last couple days, just like when a new release comes out. Utterly predictable. This is my 11th year of owning and using VR headsets. I no longer expect VR to take the place of cell phones or whatever crazy idea we used to believe. I 100% agree with this guy. Chris Duncan, you are correct. What point of the live stream? I don't see where. I'm wondering if there's a way to timestamp, but I don't think I can. It's all good. Couldn't agree more, Chris. Um, I replied to Chris. Couldn't agree more, Chris. Flavor of the moment. Soon it will be something else. VR is going to be fine. And Meta's decision has nothing to do with the upcoming Steam frame. What happened at Meta has been coming for years due to continued losses and realization. Quest wouldn't return on the investment. Look who I have again. He wanted some attention, so I brought him back. There. This is Buster. He's sleepy and he wants to cuddle, but he's mad that I'm that I'm here live streaming still. He's like, when are we gonna just sit down? Are you tired, Buster? He's hiding behind the mic. Look at that face. He's like, what is this microphone? What is this? All right. Go back to sleep out there. He's so cute. There you go, little boy. He wants to sit in my lap, but it's not gonna work. Not to gulp too loud. All right, let's see. He's just directly under my chair. I need to not move. I know, he's so cute. It's a little too much. Oh yeah, Squingle and Noda. So yeah, Squingle is amazing. Squingle is one of the best puzzle games, and it's just so innovative. I love that game. Again, mixed reality, like that's a trippy, cool mixed reality experience that I'm like, you couldn't experience that in anything other than mixed reality at any level, and it's just so cool. Yeah, things like that are going to keep VR alive. Mixed reality, meta, all of it is doing fine. Let's see. So Funk Doctor One says Meta's decision has nothing to do with the upcoming Steam frame. What happened at Meta has been coming for years due to continued losses and the realization Quest wouldn't return on the investment. This one got 10 likes and 2 replies. So it's just a coincidence that Facebook immediately announced a focus on gaming after the Steam frame announcement. I don't even know about that. It's mostly just the realization that nobody is playing the games everyone whined that they wanted. When your blockbuster AAA stuff gets less than 2% completion rates, it's clearly a waste of time to keep producing the stuff. Yeah, I mean, these are fair arguments. There's a lot of whining and not a lot of action. So I'm just going to reply to the main one. Meta's decision. Um, it's just a shakeup. It's just a shakeup. VR isn't going anywhere. It's funny because I don't generally respond to this many. You heard a big gulps for. I hope not. I tried not to. Anyway, that's funny. What was I saying? Meta's decision to do nothing with the upcoming stream frame. Blah blah blah. It's just a shakeup. VR isn't going anywhere. Yeah, no. I was also realizing I was like, I don't usually reply to this many comments in one chunk. Usually, I do them on my phone, and it's kind of like I'll do a few and then take a look again later and do a few more. But I also don't. I usually go through them all, and I've been saving them for this live stream. I realize I got to just do more live streams and have this be just the beginning part because I'm realizing that this is way more extensive than I expected in terms of how many comments there are, but it's a good thing. Eventually, it'll just be more like highlighted comments. I think as the channel continues to grow, hopefully in the next months and years. But I intend to keep doing this for a very long time. So let's see. Next one. Just scroll down and see how many more for this. Okay, yeah, we're not. It's not too crazy now. There are more. See how far down this goes. Okay, I think I'm gonna just go to the end of these specific ones about this video so I can wrap it up and then talk about a couple other things. And then I don't even know when I started this stream. It's been a while. Let's see. I don't know where the counter is for how long I've started since I started this. It was scheduled originally at 2 o'clock. I didn't start until, so I started a little earlier than that. It's funny because I'm not used to. Oh yeah, 2 hours. Okay, that makes sense. Let's keep going. What else we got here? But I am really hungry, so I am going to wrap this up not too long from now because I need food. Let's see. Where was I? I scrolled too far. See my responses. Oh. All right. There's one with a big chunk of stuff. I enjoy your channel and mostly play games on PSVR2 and non-gaming stuff on Q3 and would like updates on VR news. Okay, so this is a person who literally is just responding to my question in the video of what they might want more of. This is Russell Marsden, who says, I enjoy your channel and mostly play games on PSVR2 and non-gaming stuff on Quest 3 and would like updates on VR news, especially Quest 4 and PSVR 3, please. Thank you. Man, PSVR 3, that sounds very far away, but maybe not. That's one of those funny, interesting things is that perhaps in the next year or so, when we start hearing about the PlayStation 6, that might become more of a conversation. I know that the PSVR 2 started out really slow and it's picked up a lot, and now it's a lot more popular. So the potential is definitely there. So in response to Russell, um, I'll for sure keep you posted. Did I move this too far over? Let me see. What will I eat soon, Sephora? I have leftover taco meat that I made yesterday that I'm gonna just throw on some tortillas with some cheese and enjoy that as my very late lunch. And then I'm gonna shoot another video, I believe, because I really want to talk a little bit about um, Fable. Fable is officially coming out this fall, and I'm excited because it looks awesome. They did a reveal today of actual gameplay and a lot of the gameplay features and stuff, and it looks great. So I'm gonna do a quick video about that, and hopefully I've got my regular job tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. So time for the channel has been limited uh, by that, and I have two videos to edit that are the unboxings of this microphone as well as the PSVR2 comfort head strap that I got. So those have been shot, but I need to edit them still. There's always stuff to do, lots of things, but I wanted to jump on here and try this dual live streaming situation where I'm actually vertical and horizontal and talk about these comments. Save you some. That's funny. I will eat all of it. Sorry. I am very hungry. And I need protein. Let's see. With each succession, okay, back to the comments. 6 days ago, with each succession of VR headsets, we're getting more comfortable wear and better immersion. It may one day reach a point where people prefer to spend a large chunk of their day in VR, the same way many people spend a large chunk of their day on their phones for numerous activities, be it for work, social stuff, or gaming. I hope the Steam Frame will excel at flat screen and VR gaming. I also look forward to the day when you can comfortably use VR for 8 hours per session. I'm not thinking about 8 hours of standing while doing physical activities. That's going to be exhausting for everyone. But 2 hours of standing up and 6 hours of sitting down during a VR session should be made comfortable enough for the user. So HTP key, I fully agree with. I think that we are headed there, and eventually it'll become more of a problem of it being comfortable enough, just like any other video game or any other type of entertainment. Like you could sit down and play a movie or a TV show and watch like 5 episodes in a row. What's wrong with sitting down and watching 5 episodes in a row in VR if it's not too straining on your eyes or the headset doesn't die or whatever? So I'm gonna put around I'm put around the 2 hour mark for these responses now because I'm more than 2 hours in. Mm-mm-mm. My response is, let's see. Yes, we're headed there for sure. Current VR is evolving. During COVID, I definitely played 3 to 5 hours of VR poker every day for a while. It truly gave me my VR legs, which is true. I used to play tons of VR poker, like way too much. It was not for real money, just fake money. Throat's a little dry. Okay, let's see. Dabak, Dabak, Dabakham says, I really enjoy your coverage of both VR and mixed reality games and apps. I'd like a little more PSVR2 and Steam coverage, as I think you focused a bit more on Quest, which I do enjoy. In general, your videos are really high quality, and I hope more and more people discover you. One last thing, I don't want to focus. I wouldn't. I wouldn't focus too much on non-VR gaming. YouTube is already saturated with coverage of flat gaming, in my humble opinion. Fair. I just, well, I'll just say, thanks. So keep up the work. I'm not gonna say the good work. That's a little self-inflating. So I just, in response to this very nice message, I said, thanks for the kind words. I will for sure keep up the good work, keep up the work. I can't help but talk about flat games as I still love them. I'll just try my best to keep it interesting for everyone. I don't want to burn out. Thanks for watching. And it's true. I definitely cover VR mainly because that's where a ton of my audience is. But I also know that just people who enjoy gaming are, are a lot that are a lot like me, that play a little bit of everything. Will still care when I talk about other things. There are plenty of people who have subscribed and joined and watch, who joined for Switch content or for other content. It's just the Quest 3 has been a big subject for a while, and I think it's helped build an audience. Um, but gaming in general, I feel like it's such a huge industry and there's so much to it that I can't help but talk about the trends as they come along, and it garners responses in any case. So I just got to keep doing things that are interesting to me because I enjoy doing this, and I don't want to feel like it is a job to a certain degree because I do make some money from this, but it's not much. And I would love for it to become more, but I don't want to stick myself in the mud as a single thing only because and get stuck there because it's the only thing that keeps the channel going. So I got to keep things fluid and kind of go with what feels right. So VR has been the thing that I've talked most about, and I think that that's a huge chunk of the audience for sure. But I'm gonna just, keep plugging along. What if VR becomes less popular? I'm not gonna just stop doing YouTube. So anyway, but thank you so much for your response, Dabakham. Dabakham. Anyway, I definitely have to keep things going and try, whatever comes along. 'Cause I love playing all kinds of games. And I think streaming wise too, it's fun to play games flat screen. I don't know. I'm gonna try doing some VR streams in the coming future somehow, but I don't see how I'm gonna have the ability to interact with anybody when I have the headset on. I think there are ways with PC VR games to set it up that way, but I have not figured that out yet, to be honest. 2D games are a lot easier that way. Let's see what's next. Christian Lamb. Christian Lamb's a regular commenter. Um, I know he's not here live in the stream, but Christian replied to this same video. He's one of my most consistent responders, along with lovely people like Sephora that's actually live with us here in the chat. Christian says Meta actually did cancel the next Arkham Shadow game and dismantled Camouflage Studio, unfortunately. Seems you are right that they are stepping away from VR gaming. I hope Valve makes some of the big PC VR games available in standalone on Steam Frame, but we shall see. Pricing is still likely to be outside of most people's budget for Steam Frame and Steam Machine combo. Sony still plays an incredible role in VR, in my opinion, with console VR, which is far more affordable and far more capable of running high-end AAA VR games. My hope is that they continue with a PSVR3 in 3 years once PS6 is out. I'm going to leave him a specific around the 2 hour and 20-minute. Give Christian a specific spot to try to find the comment. Christian, I did see that they canceled the Arkham Shadow game. They didn't ever officially confirm it. So, yes, they did, I guess, officially confirm it by canceling it, but it doesn't mean necessarily that there won't ever be another Batman game. I'm okay with it. I feel like Batman Arkham Shadow is amazing. Whatever the case may be, whatever comes up next, that is a Batman game or whatever Camouflage Studio does move on to, because it doesn't seem like Camouflage Studio is gone. I think that they just let go of some of the higher ups, and they've shifted things around. But in any case, VR is going to be fine, and I think Steam is going to be fine. All of the forward movement, it is all shuffling, and things are just going to continue on. But I do 100% agree with you, Christian, on the fact that PSVR2 is an incredible way to get high-end VR gaming with a PS5. In terms of cost to play, in terms of visual fidelity and all that, I do agree with you. It's pretty phenomenal. And um, the possibility of it going to the next stage, I think, is going to partially hinge on things like Steam Frame doing well on its own, because PC gaming as it is, I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be an entry point for a lot of VR, for a lot of people who play regular Steam games and PC games to actually try to jump into VR. Because I don't think they're going to buy a Quest 3 to play those games because they think the Quest 3 is something else. Whereas the Valve being the one who's doing, like, when Steam comes out with the Steam Frame, it's so specifically for it. I think we're going to get a great entry point for a lot of people to get into VR for the first time and hopefully grow the industry all around, including bringing us to the point of PSVR 3 and PlayStation 6, which is inevitable. So that that's a more extensive of a response specifically to Christian, because he's actually been in a live stream, I think, before, and hopefully he'll get a chance to check this out. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. So let me see. Sorry, what did you say? This is I just wanted to ask, this is an incredibly random, and I apologize, but is this a safe channel slash community for trans people? Yeah, of course. Safe 100%. Yes. Don't feel like you need to apologize. Uh, I welcome all people. Let's see. Let's see here. So next, Batman sequel got canceled as well, bro. So this is the same thing that keeps coming up. Batman sequel got canceled as well, which, yeah, people wouldn't have played it anyway. A waste of devs' time. Less than 2% of people have completed the first one. Okay, that's not true. Less than 2%. That's 2% completed. Same will apply to Deadpool and everything else. So the first person said just canceled. I get it. And then the next people would have played it anyway. Waste of time. Less than 2% of people completed the first one. Less than 2% completed AW2. The same will apply to Deadpool and everything else. Even when Meta spends millions of dollars on AAA games and gives them away, people won't play them. And then someone says, "Are you sure? That would be sad. I have completed both, Batman even twice. I understand that some will give up on AW2. AW2 is Asgard's Wrath 2, which was a huge game. But Batman, and then the next person. Unfortunately, I am. The trophy system makes it very easy to figure out who's finished the game. Meta is closing these studios because continuing to spend millions of dollars on games people won't even play when you give them away is just silly. Yeah, but where can you see the trophies of all the accounts? Yes, it's understandable. I was really glad as I heard they were up on a sequel. Achievements don't measure engagement. They measure compliance with specific progression path. In a medium where sessions are fragmented, tracking is unreliable, and many players stop once they've gotten what they wanted. Using completion trophies as a proof of failure confuses did not finish with did not value, which is a weak business inference. It's true. I do agree with local person 226. And then local person 226 got a response from Enigmatic saying, I mean, if you're a realist, you can completely get behind the idea that more people have abandoned a VR AAA game than not, even if it's not 2%. It wouldn't be surprising if that was the fact, even if 10 to 20% of the fact remains that giving away these high end standalone games is not driving headset sales or even pushing retention or pushing people to pay for other meta AAA games. Meta's decisions make 1000% sense. If you have any business acumen, it sucks, but the only one to blame is the general public for not buying into it, constantly using their headsets. As a huge Quest proponent and user since Quest 1, I don't really get how people grew up in the 80s and 90s watching movies promising a VR future and thinking it was cool are now uninterested that the tech is here and actually usable. You can literally simulate any and everything in VR if you really wanted to. Very smart response. I said back to Enigmatic, who did that last response. I replied to this in my live stream. Very smart response, and I'm one of those people. It is cool that you can do so very many things, but I do need to respond to the initial person because that's the only way it goes away. Oh yeah, that's the only way it'll make the comment disappear from my feed is if I actually respond to it. Unless I just let it go. But I like to respond to everyone. I can't respond to every response, but I can respond to the main ones for sure. And I'm just going to state this reality. The unannounced. How am I spelling that wrong? It was never announced, is what I'm going to say. Let's see. It was never announced officially, but the world will continue and VR will continue to evolve. Sorry, let me see. Sephora. Oh, that's perfect. That's amazing to know. Thank you. Sadly, I've been shocked recently that some of my favorite channels are not welcoming trans people. So I'd like to ask, and I'm glad this is a safe space. Yeah, of course. What did I do? Did I have a bad take? Neon red? No. Anybody knows the timestamp for the Rockstar thing? I'm not sure what the timestamp is either. But Sephora, yeah, no, that's sad to me that you're feeling like non-safe in spaces with people that are talking negatively. I say brush it off. Like people have their opinions and their thoughts and whatever. Let them have their things. Don't try your best not to let it affect you. I say. People are full of everybody's what's the term? Opinions are like, yeah, I won't say it on here. There are lots of people with lots of opinions, and just because someone has it doesn't make it more important than someone else's. Um, Brush it off. That's what I say. Forget those people. You're cool here. Let's see. Sorry. Anyone else knows the timestamp for the Rockstar thing? Neon Red, I wish I knew to tell you. I don't even know if I can search it. Neon Red. Let me go back and see if I can. No, I don't think you had a bad take. I haven't talked much about Rockstar stuff. It was, oh yeah, here you are. Not gonna lie, I don't care about GTA 6 and how Rockstar in general has been going. No, you got you just got a lot of responses from people. Uh, there it is right there. Um, that you don't care about GTA 6, how Rockstar and AAA in general has been going, that you have low expectations, and that's fair. I feel like that's totally a fair take on it because it's been so many years since the last game, and I think my response was just it's a fair response after all this time. But I think that the potential is still there. I think that Rockstar, hopefully, because I think that all the studios, including Ubisoft and like all these different, there are lots of studios who are shifting things around. It's not just VR, um, but there's a realization with all these smaller games like Schedule One and Ball Pit and Megabonk and all these other games that are, developed by small teams. Expedition 33 also, for example, and even a massive game like Baldur's Gate 3, which people were naysayers about because it's a turn-based game, and it's just the reality is people want good games. So I think the reason that it's taken so long for this game to actually come out is that it is actually going to be good. That's just my take, my personal opinion on Grand Theft Auto 6, and I know that that's probably the way a lot of people are going to feel about it. They're just like, well, it took this long, but the hype is so big, it cannot live up to the expectations. I don't think it's possible to be what people have built it up to be in their minds, if that makes sense. Like, there's too much anticipation for it to meet expectations. Like, this many years, it's just not possible. But hopefully, it'll be good for what it is. And hopefully it'll blow us out of the water. We'll see. Like, it's just a matter of time. But that's kind of how I feel about Elder Scrolls 6. It's like I used to be so excited about that game and be so anxious for it and talk about it all the time. And then they came out with Starfield, and Starfield was like whatever. And Bethesda is a huge company with similarly massive game releases that came out in the past. So I really do think that it's even with Elder Scrolls 6, my expectations are way lower now. I'm just kind of like, well, if it's anything like Starfield, it's going to be kind of boring. Or hopefully it's something like Skyrim. I'll take it for what it is, but I just think that my feeling on games like that now is I'm just going to lower my expectations and be pleasantly surprised when it happens if it's good. And I feel like there'll be other things that come out that are big surprises that are even better or be the new thing of the day rather than like it doesn't always have to be Elder Scrolls or Grand Theft Auto that are the best and coolest thing. Sometimes it's just something new, and it's kind of like in movies, like the studios aren't betting on brand new ideas. They're always re-releasing, rehashing, and like there aren't a lot of new things. So I have hope in gaming and VR and everything just in terms of entertainment, there's still being lots of new, exciting, and fun ideas to be had. Not everything has been explored. There are so many ideas in the universe, so many things to do, so many stories to be told that we just haven't reached yet. So I don't like putting too many eggs in one basket in one game, in one VR headset, in one thing ever. Like I feel like we have to diversify and keep our minds open to new and different things because you just never know where something really great is going to bubble to the surface, if that makes sense. I feel like it sort of does not matter. GTA is going to sell. Yeah, no, GTA 6 is going to sell like gangbusters. I think the world is going to shut down when that game comes out. There'll be more call outs for more jobs ever on record, I think, because people who are actually in the workforce when the last game came out will take the day off. Like the world is not going to run the same the day that that comes out. I feel like we need to be ready for a very non-functional day. People who don't even play games are going to get affected big time. I'm going to do a whole video about that. And it's, yeah, because it really, I think it's like a prediction of absolute chaos. But we'll see. We'll see. Regardless of whether, uh, regardless of whether it's good or not, it's going to be the biggest thing that's happened in gaming in 10 years. I don't know. It's been a long time since something like this has come out. So let me continue on. We're almost to the end of the comments on this video specifically. So um, I responded to that. Batman sequel got canceled as well, bro. And then let's see. They cut 10% of 15,000 people in Reality Labs, right? That's still a crap ton of people working on this stuff. Probably needed to be cut with that much bloat. How can you even manage 15,000 people to do anything? Also, I don't think the studios that were cut were that great. Marvel Deadpool was never a good idea. Generic shooter, ugly graphics. Asgard's Wrath looks like a PS2 game and has goofy cartoony style, not exactly a Witcher or Elder Scrolls. Armature just does ports and junk. Twisted Pixel did nothing good and has a bunch of blue sky posting weirdos. Camouflage is the only one that is decent, and they are still up. And they're still up, though. Maybe lost some people. Bottom line, still over 10,000 people will be doing something VR related. Yeah, I have to agree with Wolverine XOXO. Very, very true. Mm. Yeah, he really does make good points here. It's the reality is don't get me wrong, the Deadpool game is actually really well made. It's cool, but it is very basic in graphics. And the Asgard's Wrath game is really cool, but it's not for everyone. And a lot of AAA big money games, like I was saying before, are cool, but they're not Megabonk or Schedule One or these games that are just kind of more basic and really fun. And there are a lot of games like that in VR that are like mixed reality games, like uh, Loop One Done, simple game. I spent a ton of time playing that, more than I've played Asgard's Wrath 2, because I really enjoyed the simplicity of just doing it. And that's the thing. There's games that are just fun to play and games that are supposed to be fun to play. You know what I mean? Sorry, thirsty. Throat's getting a little dry. HTTP key. I'm glad that you were able to catch the stream live as well. I'm actually not going to stay on for much longer because I've been on for 2 hours and 39 minutes, but I am. Oh, Sephora, you're going to go to sleep. That's fair. It is late at night in the UK. And yeah, I hope to see you on the next stream. Always welcome here. All right. And you enjoy your night. Get some good rest. So let's see. I was replying to Wolverine XOXO. Agree on the points. This is not the end. And yes. And then there was a response that Resident Evil 4 VR team was a blow. And that was one of the teams that got cut from the list of meta teams that were removed. And they did a port, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool, but I don't feel like they're a big studio that needs to be. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's going to affect VR that much, that specific one. Next, we have Rich Anon. Thanks again, Sephora. Rich Anon 4723 says, I appreciate your reviews and rankings very much. I would also like you to keep doing the very kind of videos that this one exemplifies. As you allude to, there's a fair amount of transition / chaos in the industry right now. I'm a retired software engineer with 30 plus years in the industry, and I think about companies, strategic direction, profitability, management of products, and direction quite a bit. I've got a couple of years of Quest 3 ownership under my belt, and I like VR/XR non shooter type games or experiences that aren't exactly games. So, you featuring apps in that genre is appreciated. At the moment, Meta is dropping all sorts of negative news, and I confess, I think the management of that company is flat out flaky. I don't know if it relates at all to Zuckerberg's personality slash ego slash tech bro arrogance, but from an investor's point of view, I do not understand how they would drop tens of billions of dollars on Horizon Worlds over multiple years, and only just now, when AI glasses seem to have a chance of making money, they're doing such a sharp turn of expenditure priorities. I mean, duh. Couldn't they just see in the last several years if their Horizon Worlds were populated by kids playing Gorilla Tag, kids who really had no money to spend? To spend? And if they're about to do a hard pivot, then why did they price their 3S over the holidays at an even greater loss of $250, which only increases the number of newbies coming into the space? And now they significantly, albeit partially, retrenched away from headsets and gamers. I agree that VR is certainly not dead, and there will be a Quest 4, probably in 2027, but Meta seems to be mightily confused in their management. Uh, very well said, Rich Anon. You pretty much nailed it with my feelings on Meta making bad decisions. It is very true. I'm going to just give him a note that I responded at the 2 hour and 42 minute mark. 2 hour and 40 minute. Well said. All good points. Thanks for watching. And I think everybody who is watching right now and watches my videos in general, honestly, I just want to say thank you to you guys, because if it weren't for you, I would not be able to do this, and I love doing this. So thank you very much for watching. If no one wanted to buy it for $300, I can't wait to see what the response for this turns out to be. Mm-mm-mm. All right. I think that the Steam frame is going to be a lot more. But I wonder how much more. I feel like the only way they're going to get away with it. What do you guys think? What do you think the price on the Steam frame will actually be? Because there's all kinds of prices flying around, possibilities. Some people are saying that the Steam machine itself, there was like a leaked number of $750 for the base model of the Steam machine. So I imagine that the Steam frame would have to be priced lower than that, because it wouldn't make sense for the Steam frame itself to be more than the computer. You know what I mean? It has its own, but I mean, Steam Deck was 800 at launch, I think. In any case, I don't know. What do you guys think? Any guesses on prices? I'm guessing the Steam machine 699, Steam frame 599. It'll be like a little less for base models on each. And then if you want the higher level Steam machine, I'm thinking 999. and a higher storage Steam frame, $799 or maybe $699. I think they're going to try to keep it below $750, but we'll see. It all remains to be seen. I say this Steam frame will be more than the Quest 3. How much do you think it will be, and will it be worth it? I'm going to say in comparison. In comparison to the Quest 3. And then HTTP key, you're saying Steam frame is probably going to be around $800 to $900. The Valve Index was more expensive. Yes, I do. I know that the Valve Index was more, but they're saying that the specs on the Steam frame are pretty similar to the Quest 3. It's going to have like a newer Snapdragon processor in it, obviously. I don't have the specs in front of me, so don't quote me on this, but from what I understand, it's not much more powerful than the Quest 3 is in its essence. So I think because Steam, I'd already heard that Steam was planning to sell their VR headset. Originally, the price for the system was supposed to be $1,300, was the rumor. But that was also assuming that it was going to be a much more powerful standalone system. And since they've basically announced and talked about some of the specs, apparently it's not going to be as powerful as they had originally said. The thing that they're trying to supplement that with is the wireless connectivity with the dongle that you can plug in directly to your system, to your PC or your Steam machine, and that will kind of supplement the fact that a lot of people already have good PCs that they'll be able to play VR games on rather than buying a system twice, kind of a thing. So I have a feeling it's going to be priced lower, even if they're selling it at a loss, because the sales of Steam games and the sales of the Steam machine in conjunction with getting both. I know it's a large price of entry, but I don't think it's going to be over 800. I think it'll be under 800. Mad Burtis. Oh, that's cool. Mad Burtis, you saw. Mad Burtis says, "Hey, I saw your reply to my comment. It looks like Scorched Earth. To check out your answer in this stream." Well, I don't see a way to roll back the stream right now, but I'll just say Meta kind of pulling back from VR will probably be good for VR. Subsidized titles not overshadowing cool indie titles that just lack the high budget. Yeah, I think. Let's see. So Meta is pulling back from VR. What do you mean by subsidized titles? You mean just like titles that are from Meta? You mean like more independent people? Yeah, I was actually kind of talking about that. Is that I feel like I've had more fun playing games that were from smaller independent creators and small studios and teams than I have with the AAA titles in VR. I feel like the AAA, a lot of the AAA stuff, it's like you're supposed to like it and it's supposed to be the best thing ever, but they spend so much money on it and it's like a waste of money because I'm having more fun playing games that one person made. So yeah. Oh my gosh, HTTP key, you're speaking my language. Selling the the Steam frame with the Steam machine as a bundle. Uh, Sign me up. I'll be first in line for that, 100%. All right, let's continue on with these comments. I'm nearing the end of the comments for this section, but let's see. Arkham Shadow. Killer Moth. Arkham Shadow had 1.6 million players collect the first trophy. 50 people completed the whole game. 50 people. Stop. That's hilarious. No, I'm sorry. That's not possible. 50 people. I was one of them. One of 50, if that's the case, because Arkham Shadow's awesome. Arkham Shadow had 1.6 million players collect the first trophy. 50 people completed the whole game. Obviously, Killer Moth is making this number up, but the biggest creative setting for VR was just dismantled. No one else is going to gamble on that if Meta couldn't pull it off. Enjoy the void of new content for the next 10 years. That's definitely rage bait. Um, and was responding also to Wolverine, who spoke before. It came free with the headset, would have easily sold 1 million without it. Someone else said, is it really true that only 50 people completed it? Come on. Obviously, that's not true. Sorry, guys. I must step away for a moment to use the restroom. Let me pull something up while I'm away.
So natural and cool about smacking that ball into the goal areas and building higher and higher scores. Beyond just being a great heart rate pumping experience.
Hey everyone, this is Steam.
I'll just play this while I'm away, and I'll be right back.
Deck. Steam Deck is our powerful, portable, handheld gaming PC that lets you take your Steam library with you anywhere. We're pretty proud of it. People who own Steam Decks have been playing everywhere, and we couldn't be happier with the response we've heard from all of you. We're excited to talk about the future of Steam Deck, but not today, because this isn't a video about the future of Steam Deck. This is a video about the future of Steam hardware. Today, we're announcing 3 new members of the Steam hardware lineup. All connect you with powerful PC gaming. All are optimized for gaming with Steam, and all are shipping in early 2026. Let's start with this one. This is the new Steam controller. The new Steam controller puts all of your Steam games at your fingertips, so you can play wherever and however you want. Just like with Steam Deck, we want you to be able to play any game with your Steam controller, even games never built with a controller in mind. It has all the great features from Steam Deck, like trackpads, gyro, and back buttons, all in a comfortable form factor. Its next-generation magnetic thumbsticks let you play with improved responsiveness and longevity. We've put capacitive touch sensors on the thumbsticks and now on the back of the controller too, so you can enable precision gyro aiming with the touch of your thumb, or your pinky if you're feeling fancy. Play for way too long with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery that allows for over 35 hours of playtime. With Steam Controller, we want to make charging and wireless pairing something that's actually easy. That's why we created the Puck. The Puck is a combination wireless adapter and magnetic charger included with every Steam controller. Snap it on to charge. Once you're charged up, snap it off again. You can play over Bluetooth or a wired connection too. The new Steam controller works with any device running Steam or Steam Link, whether it's a PC, Mac, handheld, smartphone, Steam Deck, or the new Steam Machine. Oh, this is the new Steam Machine.
All right, let's see here. Sorry if you were watching that. You could easily find that and watch it on your own. So, anyway, Mad Burtis, Lone Echo 2, Asgard 2, Batman, Deadpool, those titles just cannot be profitable, yet funded by Meta. Promote the Meta ecosystem. Yeah, it's true. I mean, that is what they were made for, to promote the Meta ecosystem, but yeah, I don't know how it's all that money that's being spent for the sake of promoting Meta, but not getting the return on their investment, I guess. Arkham Shadow had 1.6 million players can collect the first row. Oh yeah, we were reading this already. Says watch the end cutscene in the game. 10,000 did the hard mode, and it was free with the headset. It might as well have been 50 in the eyes of anyone counting chips. Probably not that low, but less than 2%, I know for sure. Same with AW2. People whine and whine about how there's no AAA games. Meta literally gives them away, and people still don't play them. Half-Life Alyx is still lauded as the VR game, and the median playtime for that was 6 hours. 6 hours. That is why Meta isn't going to bother funneling millions of dollars into games anymore. It's just a waste of time. Agree. Even Half-Life Alyx lost money too. See what happens in an organic market. Weird how most were angry at Meta for entering VR, and likely those same people are angry they're leaving. That's a good point. Meta made lots of mistakes, but 70 odd billion spending. Lots of games, 100% are part funded, both Quest and PCVR. Valve released a single game in 6 to 7 years. So it's an interesting conversation that's being put back and forth here, in the fact that, gaming, that's the thing. It's gaming in VR is not the same as gaming on a flat screen or on a console or on a PC where you are on a flat screen. I was saying this to Sephora earlier when she was in the chat still, and it's just the way that we game in VR is not the same. We're used to sitting in a room when we're still in our reality. So I think it's just going to take time for this to change and evolve, and for VR to truly be like long-term experiences that people will sit and play for very long chunks of time. It's going to have to be more immersive and more a full departure from reality than it is right now. And there's too much of a barrier of entry. When you put on the VR headset, you have to make sure it's charged. Well, I mean, if you're playing Quest, you have to make sure it's charged. You have to load it in. You have to make sure that you have your barriers set up correctly. Your boundaries are good. Um, there's just so many limitations that keep you from turning it on and playing it. And that's one of the biggest advantages of new modern gaming, is that there's almost no loading time, and you can literally leave your game where it was before, turn your TV on, turn the system on, and you're playing, and those simple things in a world where we want everything fast, 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 that makes a huge difference. And I think that VR, it's because it's a little bit more cumbersome to even just get into it, we don't do it as much. And even if you like a game, or even if you're into a game, you may not hop right back into things the way that you might have, or you might with some other game. But it's just a matter of time. I think that eventually VR in its own way will have longer experiences. And I was saying earlier, I used to play poker in VR for hours, but it was because I was sitting there interacting with other people at a poker table. And I feel like VR is going to be, over time, more about that, more about social experiences that are actually comfortable, where you can actually be there and feel like you're a part of something, rather than playing by yourself isolated in a headset. But these are just random thoughts that I'm having anyway. Um, HTP Key says, I can't really see it down here. PC Gamer interview with Valve employees shows that Steam Frame could be easily modded. Changing battery, cushion, head straps, etc. It's easy. What do you think? What do you think are good mods for the frame? Oh, that's a great question. It's funny because modifications of headsets, I literally just today put a comfort set on my PSVR2 for the first time, and I've yet to put it on. I'm doing an unboxing video for it this week. But I already know, just putting it on there, that the comfort factor is going to make a huge difference for me playing it more. So um, I I think it's honestly annoying that they're releasing headsets without stuff built into it that's actually comfortable. I think that that's one of the things that's going to have to change with future VR headsets. You shouldn't release things that aren't ready to play. It's like releasing a controller without all the buttons. Like I don't know. So I guess in answer to your question, I think that for the Steam Frame mod wise, I don't think, for me, like, I like it when a thing just works. Like, I'm more of a console gamer than a PC gamer. So I want it to just work out of the box, but it should be comfortable already. I shouldn't have to buy or modify it to make it more comfortable. I shouldn't have to change it out physically myself to make those things functional in a better way. But in the terms of like being able to make it the way you want it, then that's awesome. Um, Changing the battery, the cushion, the head straps, etc. I just feel like things should be getting shipped like that. They should come to you and be like, "This is great out of the box." There's a big screen VR. I think it's called Big Screen, and apparently it's really cool. But it's this VR headset. It's just these tiny little glasses that go on and strap onto your head. I've yet to try it. I tried reaching out to the company, and they don't have affiliate programs or anything like that. And I didn't have the whatever $1,000+ to buy one to try it out. But apparently, it's super easy to just pop on and use. And that's the kind of thing that I think VR needs to go towards. So in terms of the Steam frame, I'm hoping that what comes in the box doesn't require much to make it actually functional and usable, the way that other VR headsets are. That's my personal take. I just hope it's great as is. But inevitably, companies are going to obviously release things no matter what. It's good for smaller companies to make accessories, but I'd rather not have to get accessories. I'd rather it just work. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, yeah. I'm going to finish saying what I was saying to this guy. I'm just going to say the exact timestamp. 3 hours. I've been on here for 3 hours, guys. I got to wrap it up pretty soon because I need to eat. And I am not a person who will eat on a live stream. Maybe an apple or something, but not an actual meal. That doesn't seem like a smart thing. Doesn't seem polite to me. Let's see. So Arkham Shadow had 1.6 million players collect the first trophy. 50 people completed the whole game. That's not true. Although I'm not mad at you, Killer Moth. I get it. And if you rewind a little bit when you're watching this back, you'll be able to see that I do agree on a lot of it, but it's just a change in the industry. It's not. I wish, yeah, if you can see the actual chat from what we're talking about here too, I think all of it in context will help. So I'm just going to leave the timestamp. I'm just going to say more than 50. LOL. Oh, Killer Moth, you're here. You're actually here in the room. Awesome. I don't have to give you a timestamp. So you were hearing everything we were talking about. That's funny. Had you spoken up before? I love it. Well, I guess I don't really have. I say more than 50. This is the part where you guys all chime in because everyone's here. Oh my gosh, Patch World is pretty awesome, I have to say. HTTP key swappable lenses, yeah, hopefully that is built in, honestly. That's one of those things that truly should be built in. That is a standard function that because there's so many people who need correction, and making people buy a third-party thing to make it work is just crazy to me. I mean, obviously the companies that make them, just like the other stuff I was talking about, they are more than thrilled to make some money. But yeah, it's craziness to charge for more products just to get the basics. Killer Moth, people who would have upgraded from Quest to Steam, but after what just happened, Moth, I'm just reading your next comment. People would have upgraded from Quest to Steam, but after what just happened, no one is touching VR again for another 10 years. I don't agree with you on that. There will be a big pump and dump with Steam getting axed 3 months from release. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot more of a slow burn than that. If it burns out, then it burns out. But I think it's going to be a diversion. I think it's going to be a different lane, and definitely the way that Steam is talking about it is that they're just kind of going to put it out and like see what happens. They're not, like it's not like they're blowing it up too crazily. I think the Steam machine itself is a much bigger release than the Steam frame itself. Like it's going to sell way more of those. And even if they don't sell nearly as many of the Steam frames, the Steam machine sales are going to be astronomical. Like I know so many people who are planning to buy one no matter what the price is. And that's just anecdotally people that I know who are like, I'm getting one, because so many people have PCs that are slightly outdated or not great, or they've been thinking about upgrading and they haven't done it yet. And the Steam machine is just like here you go. It works. It does all the stuff that the new systems do, and you can play all these games on it. So I think just in that sense, that system selling alone will offset any losses they may get from charging less for the Steam frame, if that makes sense. And I think the Steam frame being an additional entry point for VR with all the content that already exists that isn't exclusive to Meta, I think that it has great potential for growing the industry. That's my personal opinion. Lots of updates since years. I've enjoyed VR transitioning to home environments from the VR arcades and experiences of the past. I would like to see it more mainstream for sure. And I think honestly, Killer Moth, I think that I do too. I hope that even if it's not the Steam frame that does it, there's going to be a point when the technology gets better in a way that makes it more accessible for people and easier to just jump into, and more people will be able to try it. You know, like more people will have the opportunity to and actually want to try it. And I think that that's going to come with simple factors of less people getting nauseous from it because refresh rates need to be nice and high. And there are lots of little details that need to be worked out for VR to truly be mass marketable. And it's still sort of a niche product. So um, it'll grow, but it's just going to take a lot of time. Yeah, see, HTTP, you're saying the same thing. Your PC is at least 8 years old. The Steam machine came at the perfect time to replace your PC, and that's a massive amount of people are going to do the same thing. And the fact that it's Steam, it's in the ecosystem, it's going to be a big thing. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if GTA 6, if they announce that it's going to be released on Steam machine as well as the other systems at launch because they have time now, you know. I mean, they've had so much time, but it wouldn't be surprising to me at all if it becomes a launch title for it, because why would they not? And why would they not at least hurry up on getting it to PC for the Steam machine? Because it's going to be probably the best selling console in terms of being a console since the Switch 1, maybe. I mean, Switch 2 sold really well as well, but apparently it's died off quite a lot. Um, but the reality is, so many people are going to buy a Steam machine. It's going to be kind of crazy. I can't wait to see what the price is. That's a whole other subject. I'm still replying to you on your Killer Moth. I'm just going to say we talked about this. Let's see how many more of these are left. Okay. I'm almost at the end of the comments on this video. Almost. It only took me 3 hours and 8 minutes to get to this point. Let's see. I don't know who in this room hasn't seen Buster, my puppy, but here's the moment. He came to say hi. This is Buster. He's a 7-month-old Chihuahua puppy who is sleepy and he wants to cuddle, and he's mad at me because I've been in here for so long. So, it's all right, buddy. All right, I'll let you down. That's Buster. I know. He's so cute. He's trying to get back up. I'll come out there in a little bit. Good boy. Do you want to sit in my lap? All right, you can try. He's not good at sitting still if he's wanting things. And he has a jealous sister who's also trying to get up here. See, no, you guys are gonna be too much trouble. Go out there. This is Lola, the big sister. She's also adorable. And yeah, the two of them in combination, wanting attention, is a lot. So anyway, where was I? Back down here. Moth says, I have seen a lot of, I know, right? HTP, they're just adorable. I've seen a lot of complaints about the cost the last few years, and while it doesn't bother me, I don't feel we will overcome that hurdle so soon. Thanks for including me in the convo. Have a great day. Oh, of course, Killer Moth. I'm glad you were able to be here. My pleasure, and please come back next time we do a live stream. I love to talk with you guys directly. This is why I do live streams, and it's really fun. And your input is valid and valued. All right, let's see. I have more comments past this video, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up this live stream with these because I'm actually like starting to lose my voice. I've been chatting a lot. We went through this one and these ones, Killer Moths responses. And then we have, I'm a very mature, this is MT Sayers. I'm a very mature VR user. I'm not a gamer, but I use VR almost every day to work out and puzzle. My granddaughter is almost a teenager and enjoys my puzzles and art apps. I've used your app recommendations and would appreciate more for either end of the age spectrum. Okay, cool. So that's absolutely. I reply, I'm replying, I love to hear that. The recommendations help. I'll definitely keep them coming. Thanks for watching. And Christian Lamb responded, if you love puzzles and are playing puzzle games with a story, games like The Room VR, Ghost Town, or I Expected to Die series are incredible. All very true. Christian is 100% correct. And this person says, I'm in my late 60s, at best a casual gamer, but love the Quest 3 and VR for exercise type things in particular. Really stunned how short-sighted Meta's marketing is that they didn't have a whole campaign directed towards seniors. So true. And I speak to a lot of older folks who use VR all the time, and they are largely ignored. And it's really sad because it's such a huge market that they're just completely glazing over, not glazing over, skipping over. %100 agree. Missing a huge opportunity. And it's funny because it's like Meta just doesn't even think about it. Like they don't have people actually checking this stuff. Let's see. Oh, the death. I want to just keep. I want you to just keep doing your thing. All good. Not much time to be on live streams for my part, though. Around the 3:13 mark. Thanks for watching. I'll just keep it up. And then this person says, Lista T Gal says, I just got mine and I love it, meaning her Quest 3. I don't use it for games, but for meditation. And that's a huge thing that like people don't realize that there are so many ways to use it. Deadmaster, thank you for coming in. Good night. Good idea to do streams. Thank you. I'm gonna keep doing them. I appreciate the positive feedback, and I love being able to talk to you guys. So you have a great sleep, and I will see you soon. I just got mine and loved it. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna timestamp it since it's so far into the video. That's the thing is like people don't like all these people are talking negatively about the transition and all this stuff, and I genuinely I I still think that the Quest 3 is still worth getting. Like it's still such an awesome system, even with the Steam frame coming out. Like I have a Quest 3, I'm gonna get a Steam frame, but I don't really need it because the Quest 3 does most of the stuff that I need it to do. It's phenomenal. yeah, and like this person's response, Trip is an amazing app. Liminal is awesome. It's great for 360 videos, fitness. It's all really good stuff. Okay, so this is the last comment I'm going to cover for today. There are quite a few more that I'll do on my next stream or just respond to and cover back in other commentary. But the last one for this specific video that I didn't expect for this to take quite 3 hours and 20 minutes so far. But this person says, the ongoing VR crisis that is now really does nothing to me. Forefront is the first game that made me use my VR glasses daily. So someone else talked about this earlier in the stream that another comment saying Forefront would save VR. I haven't played it yet. Anybody who's in the chat, have any of you tried Forefront? Let me know because I'm very curious. It's the first game that made me use my VR glasses daily. A small company like Triangle Factory masters it. That says a lot about VR selection we actually have so far, even for so many years of VR. That says a lot about Meta and Valve, who could both have done so much better. Valve is lazy, and Meta has no idea what they're doing with the metaverse crap. Meta have really missed out on selected games they have invested heavily in, which only entertain for a few hours and provide no long-term security. 2 to 3 quality titles with replay value would have been good enough, as long as these 3 titles had VR support and released some updates every now and then. I would have been secured for the rest of my days. At number one, Battlefield VR, Forefront are on it. 2, a solid survival building game. Hopefully, Light No Fire fixes that itch. And GTA VR. I had bought my VR glasses just for the 2 to 3 titles alone. The beautiful community madness and the awesome fun is on another level when VR finally works. If you have experienced it once, it's impossible to go back to flat screen gaming. It doesn't have to be the titles I wrote down either, but 2 to 3 games with enough variety and good replay value is all I'm asking for. Your list and opinion will probably be completely different from mine. I'm not claiming to be right or wrong, but we are here to share our thoughts and opinions together. And before you all ask, no, I don't think Half-Life Alyx has any replay value. That's funny. Oop, knocking the mic around. So this is a really good one for me to wrap up the stream on. Soul Desinger. I'm gonna mark this so that they can come back and take a look. 3 hours and 53 minutes. 3 hours and 15. I completely agree. I really do. I feel like that's what will make a big difference. There is a solid survival building game like Light No Fire that would be amazing if they brought that to VR. If that's on that's the thing too, is I'm jumping around, but I do agree with the fact that we need some games that are 2D and 3D, like VR and non-VR. That's one of the reasons I've brought up the whole stereoscopic factor of the Steam frame, that you'll be able to play certain games floating in front of you in stereoscopic 3D. That will add an element that isn't necessarily full VR, but it'll add a level of immersion to 3D games that'll make people want to buy the system. And it's not coming out at launch, but it's going to be something that people will definitely latch onto and really like. I know for me personally, you can do that with a PC and the Quest 3 right now with certain games, and I'm planning to try it out and try doing some kind of video that'll show how you could do that, because there's a bunch of steps to it. If you're using your PC, you can link it up the right way, add mods to it, yada yada. But if Steam actually makes it integrated and it makes it possible for certain games just to have that like denotation that it plays like that, it would definitely drive sales of the Steam machine. I know for a fact that people would be like, "Oh, hell yeah, that's so cool. I want to play Cyberpunk in 3D," like that would be a huge thing. And if maybe not Cyberpunk, maybe that's too big of a jump, but maybe not. I think that we'll probably look back at times like this when all of this was such a question mark and be like, gosh, remember that old technology when we couldn't do these things? So I want to have to agree though with the laziness of Meta, Valve. I mean, they haven't done much in terms of VR, but in terms of the progression, what is this dog doing? What are you doing down there? He's directly under the chair. Anyway, sorry for the distraction. I think that we really are going to see the time now as such a thing of the past. We're going to look back at 2026 and be like, man, things were so messy back then, you know? And I think it'll be more like we have specific lanes for things like I talked about in that video that we're commenting on right here that, you know, there will be games that that are gonna become such staples, you know, such solid games that are for VR that we're gonna look back and be like, that's the first time that VR truly was incredible for everybody and that brought people into VR. Or that's the first time I ever tried VR, you know? And I just don't think we've hit that game yet. I don't think it's happened yet. And I think it will happen, but it's gonna be a matter of that immersion becoming much more deep and much more of a separation from reality. That or better integration with our current reality with mixed reality headsets and mixed reality glasses. So I think we're really just truly on the verge of maybe not right on the edge of the verge, but we're moving towards a point where there's going to be a breakthrough and people will really love VR and really jump into it wholeheartedly, and it'll become a much bigger thing. So um, HTP, you're saying you haven't tried for Forefront. I mostly play single player games as well. That's the thing. I haven't jumped into that either. But if multiplayer gaming is the way that it gets people to play, that's awesome. But yeah, same thing. But in any case, let me wrap this message up here because this is going to be my last one. What are you chewing on? The dog's down there chewing on this little piece of plastic. The dogs definitely need attention. I need food. I'm just telling him I completely agree. Check out what I said in the stream. All right. So that covers every single comment that came through for the Steam frame isn't killing Quest 3, so what is Meta doing? All around, as I was just talking about, I think that people's opinions, their feelings about this whole situation with Meta canceling stuff and all that, Steam frame coming out, all that, it's all just part of a process. You know, time is a crazy thing. As it passes, things change, you know, and we are going to look back and see things a little differently than we do in the moment we're in them. So I have high hopes for VR. All around, there are so many great things that are going to be happening this year. I am going to have to do a totally separate video. I was planning to talk about Fable at the end of this live stream, but my voice is actually shot from the 3 hours and 23 minutes that I've been talking already. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up today's live stream. But thank you to everyone who's still here, everyone who joined in throughout the stream. I absolutely love getting to talk to you guys directly and have interaction, talk about the industry, talk about VR gaming, all the different possibilities. All this stuff is really great. It's really fun to actually interact with the audience. And I want to do a lot more of this. So please look forward to seeing more and find me. But I'm going to try to post um, a thumbnail ahead of time, a little bit more than 1 day or 2 days for upcoming live streams. So you guys have better pre-warning so you can be ready for it and possibly tune in and just have a chat, give your opinion, and we'll just keep on exploring the world of VR and gaming all around. Stay tuned for videos about more non-gaming experiences on VR. I'm going to talk about Fable. I'm going to do some more unboxings, etc. More and more stuff. It's a big year coming up ahead, and I actually just got invited to GDC, which is awesome. So that's good. I'm not going to be able to talk a whole ton about a lot of the things that I see there because it's a little bit more confidentiality driven stuff. But it will be fascinating to see a little bit more of the insider track on gaming as as I learn about more of the technology, and hopefully I'll be able to convey a lot more of that to you guys as an audience. I'm very excited to have gotten the invite, so it'll be really cool to see as the year progresses, what kind of technology and what kind of things are going to change in the coming months and years. So stay tuned. It's a lot to be seen, a lot more to do. And then I'm losing my voice and losing my ability to speak. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I will see you very soon right here on Gameless Plus. Go try something new. I'll see you very soon. Now, how do I end the stream? Here we go. See you soon.